Score by Matthew.
A gunny performance. Do your job.
And the Tigers regain the lead.
The Game.
A Cromwell media station.
Where you have a voice.
He had a competent coaching staff. You just play terrible and you keep playing.
And we have strong opinions.
What a whiny freaking crybaby response.
This is Stillman and Company with Jared Stillman. Presented by TriStar Moving on Nashville's best sports talk, 102.5 and 106.3 The Game and the Game Nashville app.
Stillman and Company is delivered by TriStar Moving, 102.5, 106.3 The Game, streaming live on Twitter, Twitch, YouTube, and Facebook Live. Thanks to Superbrook Sports. Live from the Hiller Plumbing, Heating, Cooling, and Electrical Studios. Today, Bridgestone Arena Predators back at home against the Detroit Red Wings. I got to be honest, it's nice to have the regular hockey building back and have, the giant black curtains that are in here for basketball, because God forbid the Southeastern Conference let anybody walk out of here with a can of Miller Lite, or else they'll have a heart attack. It's nice to have the hockey building back. Chase is in for Ian today. Hello, Chase.
What's up, Jared?
So we've got a lot to get to today. I want to start right off the top with free agency. So as of right now, and you heard it in the update there, the Titans have signed two players. Andre Dillard, a left tackle from Philadelphia, who was a backup tackle last season for the Eagles, and Luke Gifford, a special teams linebacker who Todd Archer, that reported the news, put out there. He covers the Cowboys for ESPN like TD covers the Titans, and he said that Cowboy coaches have always thought that Gifford could take on more of a role. Now, actually, it's funny. I watched the tape today on Andre Dillard. He started 4 games in 2021, so I guess Jordan Mailata must have been hurt. But I watched the tape, and in one of them, it was a Monday night game. It was a blowout against the Cowboys, and there was a screen pass where Andre Dillard was out, and the guy he was taking on was Luke Gifford. So both guys are now on the Titans. And I was driving in listening to the midday show, and I've even gotten some texts myself about, what are the Titans doing in free agency? What is going on here? Case in point, somebody texted me, someone I have a lot of respect for, sent me a text today at 1:41 p.m. So this was not completely unprovoked, unsolicited. Somebody sent me a text and said, how have the Titans done nothing but lose players? Are they trying to suck? Now, let me say this. I think that's how a lot of people feel. I actually like the approach the Titans have taken so far in free agency. I know a lot of you don't, because it's not exciting, because it's not sexy, because it's not the ends to the fear that we all have, and trust me, I have it too, that the Titans are going to be bad this year. I have that fear. But I got to be honest with you. I look at a lot of these free agents around the league that are getting signed, and I think a lot of these guys kind of stink. There's a lot of guys I see in free agency that are signing deals, and I'm like, is that guy really all that good? And remember, the important thing about signing free agents is not about spending the most money in free agency. Nobody ever cares about that. It's not about being the first one to sign a bunch of people in free agency. When we get to September and October and November, nobody ever cares about that. The key in free agency is spending appropriately. And the reason why that's a big deal is because every year some team will try to sign somebody, and this guy will have to be the savior of what they're trying to do. This guy, we're going to bring him in, and he's going to be the guy that changes our organization. But remember that there's a reason why these guys are available to begin with. The GM used to always say, a guy's only available for one of 4 reasons. Either 1, he's not a good player. Number 2, he's not a good guy. Number 3, he's too much money. Number 4, he's hurt. Joe Burrow is never going to be available in his prime in free agency. It's just never going to happen. So there's always a reason why these guys are available. But I always think the key to free agency is not spending the most. The key is spending appropriately. The key is to highlight guys that either other teams think this guy's too old, this guy's too fat, this guy's too skinny, this guy's too young, this guy's too... and to say, okay, this is a trait we really liked. This is a trait he has. We see it on the tape. Or we got to know him when he was coming out as a free agent or as a draft pick 5 years ago. And everybody told us now that he's lazy or he's this, but we know him and we think he's actually a good kid. When I think about the free agents the Titans have signed over the years, I don't think about the big expensive guys. I don't think about the big moves that everybody was all pumped about. Remember the Julio Jones trade? That might as well have been a free agent move. Yes, TV said the Titans were Super Bowl contenders. I took your phone calls because I was against the Julio, and what we're trying to do, Julio Jones. And I'm like, there's a reason why Atlanta wanted you to take on Julio Jones. Just because it's a sexy signing, or in this case, a sexy trade, it's really not that big of a deal. Think about the big free agent signings the Titans have made the last couple of years. Bud Dupree. Now, I like Bud Dupree, and I do think the team's better when Bud Dupree's in there. But that was the big ticket free agent signing. Jadeveon Clowney, $12 million. Remember, Joe Rexroad and Corey Curtis told us, you have to sign Jadeveon Clowney. Vic Beasley, $9.5 million. It might have made you happier in March. I mean, I didn't have a problem with the Beasley signing. We talked to the defensive coordinator in Atlanta, who Floyd was the best man in his wedding, and he said, yeah, he'll fly off the ball and go try to sack the quarterback. Sounds like a good kid, but it was an unmitigated disaster. Do you know who the best free agent signings have been for the Titans? Deontay Foreman, Dontrell Hilliard, Danico Autry. Those are the best kinds of free agent signings. Austin Hooper, I thought, was a really good free agent signing. You know what's funny? When Austin Hooper was with the Falcons, he was considered the top free agent in the market. He signed for all this money with Cleveland and never had the success that he had in Atlanta. He averaged 10.5 yards a catch 1 year in Atlanta, 10.7 yards a catch the final year in Atlanta that got him paid all that money in Cleveland. Guess how many yards per catch Austin Hooper had last year for the Titans? 10.9. Basically, if Todd Downing spent more time throwing the ball to Austin Hooper instead of hopping in the car after having a couple of pops on the airplane home, Austin Hooper would have had a much better season. But that was a Friday free agency signing for 1 year and $7 million last year. And he was a good player. So Ben Jones was a good free agent signing. And I don't ever remember anybody putting out an article when it happened of Titans signed Ben Jones, the former center of the Texans, and he is going to come in here and be the linchpin of the offensive line for the next 6 years. So free agency is not a free-for-all supermarket shopping dash where it's put them all in the cart. We need all these guys. I look at teams that are spending money in free agency, that are really spending money. Denver, the Raiders, teams that are in some serious trouble. The Broncos are trying to throw money at their offensive line right now because their quarterback freaking stinks. It's like, well, Russell stunk last year, so let's fire the coach, and let's throw a bunch of money at the new coach and use a first-round pick to get him, and let's throw a bunch of money at the right tackle, and let's throw a bunch of money at the right guard, and let's just throw money at it. You think the Broncos are going to be good next year? Now, I understand free agency and spending a lot of money on one player if you think you're that one player away. The Bills last year, after they got right down to the wire with Kansas City, but couldn't stop them for 13 seconds in the AFC playoffs, they thought they were one elite pass rusher away, and they spent the money on Von Miller. I think Kansas City looks at their team right now, and they said, look, Orlando Brown's not really all that good at left tackle, so we don't want to franchise tag him again. Let's just sign Jawan Taylor. Let's pay top-of-the-market money for a right tackle. Let's flip him to left tackle, and on we go. And I'm okay with that either, but I think we can all agree. The Titans are not one or two impact free agents away from being able to compete in the AFC. I would argue the biggest move last season that catapulted one team into contention was a trade, and that was A.J. Brown. And I think everybody learned from that, hey, don't let your receivers hit the free agent market. And that's why you've got Alan Lazard is your best free agent, or Jacoby Myers is your best free agent, because people are like, no, we're not letting our free agents, we're not letting our good receivers go. So here's what the Titans have done. The Titans have decided, hey, we like Andre Dillard's traits. We don't think he's a superstar, but we're not going to pay him like a superstar. But we like his traits, and we think he can help us at left tackle. I think they went out and signed Luke Gifford, because everything that Mike Vrabel preaches, from what I've been told, Luke Gifford is. He's a sure tackler. He's good on special teams. And if Monty Rice is going to play the important linebacker role with the green dot, then this guy can play the non-important linebacker role. They don't need to spend $11 million on their second inside backer. If you look at the charts, if you look at who's available in free agency, there's still plenty of good free agents that are out there. Just because they didn't fly off the shelves on day one. Does that make the Dolphins signing Mike White any better than if the Titans were to go out and sign Hayden Hurst tomorrow and he were to be a better tight end? You know the answer to that. So a lot of people are worked up. There's anxiety about what is this team going to do? What are they going to do on the offensive line? What are they going to do at wide receiver? What are they going to go do on defense? Why are they not spending the money? Why? And I'm telling you, I see the plan. I see the plan. The plan is to get starting caliber players who don't get hurt, and guys that on the tape may not be starters right now, may not be bona fide aces, but the plan is to get guys that they think are starting caliber in the NFL, sign them for below market for that starting position job, and have those guys that don't get hurt be in their lineup and reinforce the core of their team that is going to decide whether or not they win this season. Byard, Simmons, Landry, Tannehill, Henry, Burks, Okonkwo, so on and so forth. And I think being available and not having these tissue injuries, that's a big part of this plan. So right now you can complain about it, but I like the plan. And I know, I'm sure people are upset about it. But right now, what they're doing, where they are right now, I like the plan. 615-737-1025 is our phone number, 615-737-1025 if you want to weigh in. I am going to get to your phones today. You know what's crazy is that I actually hate doing the show with a computer in front of me. I think like every radio host has to have a computer in front of them, right? Like they have to, let me dig my face in there. And normally I just have my phone, and if I want to look something up, I'll just look it up on my phone. But because of all the moves in free agents, I got a computer in front of me, so hopefully it won't distract me too much today. 615-737-1025. Plus, you can bitch about the Titans all you want. Coming up next, you better give them credit for one thing that is very clearly important that you all have demanded. We'll get to that coming up next. Hey, FanDuel Sportsbook is my official sportsbook app. This March, take your first shot at college hoops with FanDuel Sportsbook and get 10 times your first bet amount in bonus bets up to $200. That's right. Just bet $20 on the bracket and you'll land $200 in bonus bets, win or lose. That's $200 you can spend betting everything from the money line to point spreads to the 5 versus 12 matchup you've been eyeing. All in an app that's safe, secure, and super easy to use. Let me guys just tell you right now, I am a huge fan of Duke. And I actually, as far as rooting for Duke, I don't really care about Duke. I don't hate Duke. I don't love Duke. But Duke has not lost since Valentine's Day. And they just stormed through the ACC tournament. And they beat Virginia at their own game. They've got an experienced point guard who was in the Final Four last year in Jeremy Roach. They got 2 freshman bigs that are playing like sophomores right now. Duke. Just telling you, you heard it here first. There's no better place to bet the tournament than FanDuel. Sign up today, FanDuel.com/JGM, and make every moment more with FanDuel all tournament long. 21 and older and present in Tennessee. First online real money wager, only $10 deposit required. Refund issued as non-withdrawable bonus bets that expire in 14 days. Restrictions apply. See full terms at FanDuel.com/sportsbook. Gambling problem? Call the Tennessee Red Line 1-800-889-9789.
Tune in to Robbie and Rex Road this week for your chance to win tickets to the Louder Than Life Festival.
They're all in there, man. They're trying to win.
Yes. The Louder Than Life Festival, September 21st through the 24th at the Kentucky Expo Center in Louisville. Catch some of the biggest acts in music.
That rocks.
Blew the house up, man. It was ill.
Listen for your chance to win all this week on Robbie and Rex Road, 102.5 and 106.3 The Game.
In St. Pete, Clearwater, Florida, the fun extends beyond the beach because here the arts are alive, the food is al fresco, and the nightlife is electric. So let's forget the cold and find our place in the sun. Let's explore captivating collections at the Salvador Dali Museum and bask in bay views from the St. Pete Pier. Let's fill up on fresh caught cuisine and catch up over cold craft beer on rooftop patios. Day or night, let's shine. Plan your escape at visitstpeteclearwater.com.
Being value conscious and getting the most for your money is so important these days, and that's why it's more important than ever to shop at Genesis Diamonds, the undisputed value leader.
Part of the education at Genesis Diamonds is we explain to you how we travel the world and purchase our diamonds, how we buy in bulk, we pay cash for our diamonds so we can save every possible percent to save you money on your diamonds.
Genesis Diamonds Vice President David Cooper.
There are no middlemen, there are no other wholesalers or dealers, so we cut out all of those extra added markups and pass those savings on to you.
When you combine that unmatched value with a totally no-pressure shopping experience, you know you're in the right place.
Because we do not work on commission, our sole purpose is to make sure you get exactly what you want. There's nothing in it for us personally, whether you spend $1,000 or $100,000.
That's why at Genesis, people often end up spending less than they had budgeted.
Our goal is to purely present you with options so you can choose exactly what you want.
The value you want, the experience you deserve. Genesis Diamonds, Green Hills and Cool Springs.
Losing your hair? It's Chase McCabe. No matter your age, gender, or type of hair loss, it's never a good feeling when you see too much hair in your brush or you begin to notice bald spots. For 45 years, Hair Club has helped more than 500,000 members get hair they love. If you're affected by hair loss and not sure what to do, let Hair Club help customize a solution for you. For a limited time, get 10% off when you book a free consultation today and get started at hairclub.com/chase. That's hairclub.com/chase.
We try to stay cool by being on social media.
I'm with it. I'm hip.
Follow us on Twitter at 1025 The Game and on Instagram at 1025 The Game Nashville.
Hey!
Oh, yeah, and like us on Facebook, too. Strong opinions and a strong personality on your drive home. This is Stillman and Company, presented by TriStar Moving on 1025 and 1063 The Game and the Game Nashville app.
You know, we have to address it. We have to at least look at it, and we are, and we have, and we do it every single day. You know, that I meet with Todd, that we meet with Frank, that we're trying to figure out what these injuries are, Gentry, and I know that everybody, you know, has got the answers. I don't know if I have the answers on, you know, that 90% of the injuries occurred in the game, right? Of an ACL or an MCL or a high ankle sprain. I mean, those are hard, you know. We look at soft tissue injuries. We look at those soft tissue injuries of, you know, repeat offenders. You know, I mean, it doesn't take too hard to look and see that, you know, Christian Fulton and David Long are, you know, I mean, they're repeat offenders of soft tissue injuries. They have to figure out a way to train and act like, you know, the game is played at a high speed. Kevin Byard hadn't pulled a hamstring since we've been here. You know what I mean? And there's a durability factor to playing professional football that we should not overlook.
There you go. That was Vrabel. And he was talking about the injuries, asked about the injuries. The last 2 years, you guys have had all these injuries. Mike, what are you going to do about it? And you guys have complained more than anybody about these injuries. I mean, I can't tell you how many times somebody called in or texted in or the Twitter, whatever it may be. They need to fire the strength and conditioning coach. They need to fire the trainer. They need to fire the medical staff. And I'm not saying they don't need to take a look at the medical staff or that they didn't need to take a look at the medical staff, but I am going to tell you all right now that, like, their hip doctor, for instance, Dr. Thomas Bird, he is the best in the world at what he does. Like, when I was at Louisville and we had somebody hurt a hip, they'd come see Dr. Bird. If you're in California, if you're in Hawaii, if you're in France, and you're a high-end athlete and you hurt your hip, you go see Dr. Bird. And so you want to fire him? Probably not. So the point being is that everybody demanded action. We demand action so that these players aren't all hurt next year, so that these guys, these injuries don't keep happening. We want you to do something about it. Well, I think you have to give the Titans credit because that's exactly what the Titans have done. And let's start with the playing surface itself. Now, I have no freaking clue if turf is better than grass. I have no freaking clue if this grass at this stadium is the reason why the Titans are getting hurt so much. But I do know that the turf the Titans are putting in is some kind of special super turf that's supposed to not have anybody get hurt. Now, I don't know if that's actually going to work or not. I don't know if that's the reason why people were getting hurt. But they at least decided, we're going to do something about this. And this is what all of our research has shown us. And listen to Rand Carthon. This was him at the Combine when he was asked about, hey, what are some of the things that you didn't know would be a big deal when you became GM? Here's what Rand Carthon said.
What's going on that you go, I wasn't ready for this part?
Turf. The conversation about field surfaces.
Really?
Burke did an excellent job of giving me a crash course on, all the different types of turf and, what you're filling the turf with, the pros and cons of each one. That was the last thing I thought that I would ever talk about in this role. I don't even cut the grass at my own house. But here I am being educated on field services.
Yeah,
so that was one.
So he's saying hey, I didn't know this was going to be a big deal. But it is a big deal because the Titans are trying to figure out why have we been hurt so much over the last 2 years. And then it comes to free agency. And yesterday, David Long signs a 2-year, $11 million contract with Miami, and everybody was like, how could you let David Long go for $11 million? What are you trying to do? What? You're trying to ruin the Titans. And I'm like, no. They're trying to figure out what you've demanded that they get figured out, which is all the injuries. And the first thing that they've decided to do is if you're injured, we don't want you anymore. Nate Davis, goodbye. David Long, goodbye. Ben Jones, who Vrabel loves like one of his kids, goodbye. Taylor Lewan, injured, goodbye. Bud Dupree, goodbye. I mean, if I was Christian Fulton, I'd be looking around. Vrabel said, talking about repeat offenders, brought up Fulton and Long. And if I was Fulton, he's going to be on the last year of his rookie deal. If I was Christian Fulton, I'd be thinking to myself, if they draft a corner this year, or if they sign a corner, or if they trade for a corner, my days here may be numbered. They're trying to get the injured guys out of here. Now, some people are going to say, well, Andre Dillard was injured last year. He broke a forearm. Breaking a forearm is a little different. I'm not worried about Derrick Henry's toe. When you break something, that's a bone injury. But these guys with muscle injuries, it's my hamstring, it's my groin, it's my... Get out. Taylor Lewan's torn up the knee twice, goodbye. That's what the Titans have decided to do. And I think at some point you have to be able to take some kind of risks. Jeffrey Simmons, ACL tear, it's not the end of the world. But at the same time, what the Titans were doing, between drafting Caleb Farley, who had just had his second back surgery or whatever it was, or Julio Jones, a guy on the wrong side of 30 that was having hamstring problems, or Bud Dupree, who was always hurt. Once you get there, it's kind of like you don't need to take the risk on every player. And so instead of just doing what you all wanted at the time, was you wanted Vrabel, as soon as the Jacksonville game was over, to get up at the podium and say, we're firing our strength and conditioning staff and we're firing our whole medical staff. That's what you wanted. That was never going to happen because that's just not all that feasible. Plus, I'm not sure how it's the strength and conditioning coach's fault. The strength and conditioning coach is there, and if guys want programs from him, he'll give it to them. But most of these guys go work out with their own trainers anyways. So I wouldn't get mad at the strength and conditioning coach. What the Titans have done is they've said was field surface. And that crap-ass turf that they have at Nissan Stadium, and you know it's crap. You watch them play in the Music City Bowl. You watch them slip on the field. And poor Terry Porch, he's doing everything he can with that field, but you know that field has stunk for 25 years. I remember a Monday night football game when the Titans were playing the Patriots. John Madden and Al Michaels were calling the game, and they were making fun of the fact that you had to paint the grass before the game. All they talked about was how bad the grass was. My cousin from New Orleans called my dad and said, "What, you got to paint the grass green?" I mean, it was embarrassing, and it's been that way for 20 years. So they're saying, hey, maybe it's this field surface. Let's get, a new surface in here that all the scientists and the gurus and everybody else tell us is going to help out. Now, again, I have no clue if that's true or not. I'm just telling you that the gurus say that it's going to help out. And now they're getting rid of the injured players. And like I said, you should give them credit for that. I mean, I think I'm probably one of the harshest critics of the Titans on a consistent basis. But you have to give them credit for trying to change up what they're doing so that they can get a different result. Now, if I was Tannehill, and I saw that San Francisco signed a quarterback yesterday, and I did the math in my head, and I said 1, 2, 3, and I'm coming off of my injury. Now, Tannehill has been relatively healthy since he's been with the Titans. But if I was Tannehill, make me a little nervous that they're getting rid of all the injured guys. And Vrabel didn't want to get rid of Ben Jones. And Ben Jones said, I forgot who reported it, but somebody reported that Ben Jones is not retiring. He still plans on playing. But they just can't invest in the injured guys. And I kept saying that when they cut Lewan and they cut Robert Woods, although Robert Woods did play. Now, he dropped the ball and was coming off of an injury. But when they cut all these guys, and everyone's like, you cut all these guys, what are you? I'm like, but you didn't get any games out of Taylor Lewan. So it's not like that $14 million that you had at left tackle last year did you any good. And I think that's the way they look at it, is we want guys that can be available. And David Long Jr. just was not available enough. Not even at $5.5 million a season. 615-737-1025 is the phone number. We will get to your phones. 615-737-1025. The Titans signed a linebacker, Luke Gifford. And I talked to some of my Cowboy sources, because I do think this guy's probably going to end up starting for the Titans. And I did talk to some of my Cowboy sources, what they said about Luke Gifford. We'll get to that next. Stillman and Company right here, live from Bridgestone Arena, where the Preds take on the Red Wings tonight. 102.5, 106.3 The Game.
1, 2, 3. It's free agency time in the NFL. What big moves will happen around the league? And what will Rand Carthon do to improve the two-tone blue?
We're always open for business. We'll see what comes from it.
Keep it locked to Nashville's best Titans talk. 102.5 and 106.3 The Game and the Game Nashville app.
The choice is yours. Wednesdays at 8:45. Brought to you by Jarrett Companies. Now hiring experienced sprinkler experts. Go to jarrettfire.com. JARRETT fire.com. Jarrett Companies, a company above and beyond industry standards.
Does this sound familiar?
We have the worst agent in town, and we couldn't be more miserable. They showed up late to every showing, convinced us to lower the price way below market value, and let the cat in the house. We didn't even have a cat, but in the end, we never sold our house and lost our dream home. Hire our terrible agent and see the results for yourself. You'll totally regret it.
Don't let that happen. Google TJ Anderson Homes and see why we are referred so often by home buyers and sellers. TJ Anderson Homes of Benchmark Realty. Office number 615-432-2919.
Houston Clinic Orthopedics wants to thank their patients for voting them the #1 orthopedic practice in the Nashville Scene Poll for 3 years in a row. Their physicians specialize in spine, joint replacement, knee, hip, upper extremity, and other orthopedic conditions. At Houston Clinic Orthopedics, they adhere to all CDC guidelines for the patient's and staff safety. To experience world-class orthopedic care and see a list of all physicians, visit their website at tn.houston.com and book your appointment online today.
615 Chutney. You might recognize the name. Real Nashvillians know the 615 Chutney food truck used to be the spot. Now they have a full restaurant in Bellevue. Make no mistake, it's a new look with live music, an art gallery, and even a robot server. Yeah, a lot has changed, but it's still the same old chutney. They still serve up authentic and delicious South Indian cuisine to hundreds of satisfied customers every week. And they've become a Nashville staple along the way. Just ask around. Open for dine-in, carry-out, and delivery through Grubhub. That's 615 Chutney in Bellevue, a very Indian affair.
Finding great people to hire is like trying to find a needle in a haystack. It's pretty difficult, right? Well, ZipRecruiter has mastered finding a needle in a haystack, so they take it to the next level. They make hiring so simple that it's like finding a needle in a needle stack. And that's why you should try ZipRecruiter for free at ZipRecruiter.com/radio. Here's what it's like to use ZipRecruiter. They have so many qualified candidates that it's easier to find the right ones for your roles. In fact, 4 out of 5 employers who post on ZipRecruiter get a quality candidate within the first day. That's a lot of needles. So how do they do it? ZipRecruiter's powerful technology sends you candidates who are a great match for your job, and you can even invite your top choices to apply. So if you want less hay and more needles, head to ZipRecruiter.
And right now, you can try ZipRecruiter for free. That's right, free at ZipRecruiter.com/radio. That's ZipRecruiter.com/RADIO. ZipRecruiter.com/radio. ZipRecruiter, the smartest way to hire.
Join 1025 The Game live from the Rusty Nail in Hermitage on Friday, March 17th.
And the three is good.
Take in the first round of games during a St. Patrick's Day celebration. Enjoy $3 two-lane beer drafts all month long during the tournament.
Yes! What a shot!
Plus a great local atmosphere with a big back patio and volleyball courts. There's also great drinks and great food, especially the wings. That's Friday, March 17th at the Rusty Nail in Hermitage. Doors open at 10.
Hey Nashville, this is Rick Stockstill, and you're listening to Nashville's best sports talk, 1025 The Game.
I'll say this as an outsider, and I'll never be more than that when it comes to this. But if someone asks us on the air to describe a Titan, for me, I always say it starts with a level of toughness that's visible. It can't be just talent. It can't just be speed. There's those guys, when you watch the Titans, there's something physical going to happen.
Yeah, I mean, and again, what you just described is who?
Mike Vrabel. And you.
There you go. That was Rand Carthon at the Combine on NFL Radio. And it's, when I think of the Titans, I think of tough. And Rand Carthon's like, and when you think of that, who do you think of? Vrabel. So the Titans today made their second signing. They already signed Andre Dillard to play left tackle. They signed Luke Gifford. Now, I'm going to tell you straight up, I have no idea who the hell Luke Gifford is, or at least I had no idea when I woke up this morning. Todd Archer was the one who broke the news. He covers the Cowboys for ESPN. He said, quote, linebacker Luke Gifford has agreed to a 2-year deal worth up to $5 million, which means it's a 2-year deal, but it's not $5 million. It's up to $5 million. With the Tennessee Titans, according to a source, Gifford led the Cowboys in special teams tackles last year, and coaches believed he could have handled a larger role on defense. So, I went in. I've got some sources with the Cowboys, people that are inside the organization, and I said, what do we know about Luke Gifford? And the first person got back to me, and in all caps put, baller, BALLLLLERRRRR. All caps. Best special teams linebacker in the NFL. Then I talked to somebody else who said, quote, really good depth player and just a dude you want on your team. And when I heard that, I thought to myself, that's Vrabel. Now, the Todd Archer part, and you can tell that this came right from either Gifford himself to Todd Archer or from his agent, because they're telling you a 2-year deal worth up to, which means it's coming from the agent. And Cowboys coaches believed he could handle a larger role on defense. That probably does come from Cowboy coaches. I'm not doubting that by any stretch of the imagination. But it sounds like a Vrabel guy. And it sounds like the kind of guy that, again, the Titans, are they going to put him out there on defense right now if they had a game today? Probably. But I think what both Andre Dillard and what Luke Gifford give them is the ability to draft that spot if the guy who's better than them is there in the draft. But if not, they feel comfortable putting that guy out there on the field. So, again, I mean, normally I wouldn't care about some special teams linebacker. One year they signed Darren Bates to do it. One year they signed Brendan Trowick to do it. One year they signed some guy named Nick DeZubnar to do it, and I don't think he ever played. But just the people I talked to inside the Cowboys, they really, really, really like this guy. Don't know if it means anything or not. 615-737-1025. I did promise your phones. But I tell you, LD from McMinnville, boy, he is mad today. My goodness, just all of these texts today are firing them off from the very, very start, from 2:05 on today this morning. Said, you're right, Jared. A lot of these free agents do stink, and that includes Dillard. That's LD from McMinnville, number 1. LD from McMinnville, number 2. All these past free agent moves you're criticizing were all made by the great J. Rob. But we were also talking about Ben Jones being a successful free agent signing, Danico Autry, Austin Hooper, Deontay Foreman, Dontrell Hilliard. I mean, there was some good, there was some bad. That's really how how general managering works. There's going to be some good, there's going to be some bad. Jared is now, this again, LD from McMinnville. Jared is now trying to justify what's going to be a subpar roster. Let me say this. I still think the Titans have holes. And I am sitting here saying, I really, for my own personal anxiety, it would make me feel better if the Titans would sign a guard. And it doesn't have to be a great guard. Just has to be a fat guard. If the Titans would sign a big guard who weighs 320 pounds and started somewhere else. I don't want one of these guys who doesn't start somewhere else. I want a guy who started somewhere. It can be 1 year. It can be 2 years. I would just feel better if they signed a guard. But this roster, what's going to define this team this season? Does Derrick Henry still play like Derrick Henry? Do Treylon Burks and Chigakonkwo each take the next steps? I mean, I think we can all agree on this with those two guys. They have superstar potential with the ball in their hands. And I don't know who has the bigger superstar potential. I'd lean Burks, but Okonkwo might be one of the most explosive players the Titans have had on offense in a long time outside of A.J. Brown. And that's in large part because, well, the Titans haven't had a lot of explosive players. I mean, people compare him to Jonnu Smith, and that's fine. He can be better than Jonnu Smith. Jonnu Smith never had a 500-yard season with the Titans. I could see Chigakonkwo, just because of his big playability running with the football, I could see Chigakonkwo having 3 100-yard games based upon catching 1 or 2 passes in those games. So those guys have to take the next step. What are they going to do at wide receiver? Feels to me like the draft, you're more likely to find a good wide receiver in round 1 or round 2 of this draft than you would be with these free agents that are out there like Jacoby Myers or the older guys like Marvin Jones Jr. I'm not really interested in the free agent receivers. Maybe you sign a Mac Hollins, whatever. And then on defense, Simmons, Autry, Byard, Landry. That's going to be what defines their success. And that 11th pick. The 11th pick, got to be an impact player. If you draft the best wide receiver in this year's draft with that 11th pick, let's say it's Jackson Smith and Jigba. Now, I'm just going to tell you the Titans are not going to sign Jackson Smith and Jigba because, as I said, it's clear that they don't care about they don't want the guys with injuries anymore. But let's just say that he's the best receiver in this draft. They sign him. He becomes a star player. Now, all of a sudden, you're really cooking. I'm not trying to justify this subpar roster. I'm just telling you, you're not going to fix it in free agency. So don't panic with the fact that the Titans haven't really gone through free agency and they haven't really decided, oh, yeah, let's just dump a bunch of money on Jawan Taylor. You want to know why I don't think Orlando Brown Jr. has a deal yet? I think it's probably the same reason why the Chiefs didn't tag him a second time. Nobody thinks he's that good. Nobody thinks he's that good. Like, he thinks he's top of the market left tackle. And nobody thinks that. Nobody thinks that you're Trent Williams. But when guys get to free agency, they want the big contracts. Texter into the text line says, now that they fixed the field turf and they're getting rid of the injured guys, what's going to happen when the Titans lead the league in injuries again next year? We have a rule on this show. You can't get in trouble for something that you haven't done yet. So we can't just chuck it all away and say to ourselves, hey, they're going to lead the league in injuries again. They've got the new field turf. They're getting non-injured guys consistently. You know, Dillard tore his tricep one year and he broke his forearm last year. That's not the same as a nagging hamstring that never goes away. And that's what they're getting rid of. Taylor texts in, why would the Titans waste money on a new field surface when they're about to build a new stadium? I don't know how much a new field surface costs. I can't imagine that it's over $2 million. So let's just say, and again, I have no idea how much this costs. Let's say it's $2 million. Well, if you've got a football team that is always getting hurt and you're losing Ryan Tannehill or Derrick Henry, all of a sudden Ryan Tannehill missing one game is worth $2 million to you. So last year he missed 5. Now, I don't think it's because of the surface. I think it's because Nicholas Petit-Ferrer rolled up into him. But I'm just using them as an example. That what I've heard is that what it seems like the players always tell us is that turf is worse than grass. But it sounds like what the Titans are pushing out there, and I don't see why they would lie about this, and normally when I do think they're lying, I'm first to call them on it, that this new field surface is supposed to be like the super duty field that's actually scientists say is better for injuries. So I don't see an ulterior motive there for the Titans other than they want their players to be healthy. So that's why they're doing it and doing it now. 615-737-1025 is the phone number, 615-737-1025. We'll get back into your phones, but this has been a very hotly debated discussion. And I think now we know the truth. No matter what the Adam Schefters tell you, the Ian Rappaports tell you, no matter what they're telling you right now on this, I think we know the truth. We'll get to that next. Hey, play hooky and join us at Jasper's, located at 1918 West End Avenue this Thursday for the first day of the tournament. While you're there, take advantage of the Shot and a Beer special. That's a shot of Nelson's Greenbrier Tennessee whiskey, plus a bottled domestic beer for just $10. Jasper's oversized bar, TVs, and game room make them the place to catch all of the games.
Every Wednesday at 8:30. Join Robbie and Rex Road for The Choice is Yours.
2 sports questions, 2 non-sports questions.
They'll answer a couple of questions about life and sports. The Choice is Yours is built by Jarrett Companies. You have a choice. So when you have a need for site and utility work, fire protection, concrete and asphalt services, the choice is simple. It's Jarrett Companies. For more, visit JarrettCompaniesInc.com. The Choice is Yours. Wednesdays at 8:30 on 102.5 and 106.3 The Game and the Game Nashville app.
Hi guys, it's Mark. Are you struggling with erectile dysfunction? Did you know that a major medical breakthrough is available and it isn't a pill? Today, Tuesday, March 14th, we're running a one-day special you won't want to miss out on. Hillside Medical Clinic uses the most powerful form of wave therapy. This is a technology clinically shown to repair blood vessels and improve blood flow. It's backed by 60 clinical studies, including from Cambridge. If you're ready to regain the spark in your bedroom, today is your day. Call us now and you'll qualify for the assessment and ultrasound totally free. You'll also get a gift that can produce rapid and powerful results in the bedroom in minutes. You're going to love that one, guys. Trust me. And today only, we're offering 6 tune-up treatments to our patients free. This is an unprecedented offer worth hundreds of dollars, but call today and qualify totally free. Call 615-576-5000. That's 615-576-5000. Guys, put a stop to your erectile dysfunction and get your life back. Call Hillside Medical Clinic now to qualify. This offer ends today. 615-576-5000.
What's up, everybody? Michelle Knesvik here for Superbook Sports. And listen, make 2023 the year you beat Vegas. Superbook Sports gives you the chance every week to go head-to-head with the best odds makers in Las Vegas. No fancy computer algorithms, no guys across the pond setting lines for American sports, just the best team of odds makers in the business behind the counter at Superbook in Las Vegas. Plus, check out some of the best odds boosts and promo bets anywhere. Download the Superbook Sportsbook app or visit superbook.com to start your battle against Vegas right now. Visit superbook.com for terms and conditions. Gambling problem, call 1-800-889-9789.
Do you have a VA loan? In this housing market, homeowners with VA loans have access to a ton of instant cash. Hey, Willie Donick here. Do you need cash to pay off credit cards and other high-interest loans? How does a check for 80 or 90 grand sound right now? Loan Pronto is helping veterans every day get the money they need with a quick and easy zero-cost cash-out refi with zero closing costs. With a VA loan, it's really cool because you can access up to 100% of your home's value. That's 100%. Use that money to pay off credit cards, home equity lines, car loan. Consolidate all your payments into one check per month and close in 2 weeks. Most homeowners who do this end up cutting their overall monthly payments by $800. And Loan Pronto's all-digital process makes it fast and easy. They're doing loans with super low APRs, and they love working with veterans. Call now. See what your options are. Call Loan Pronto, 615-499-5780. That's 615-499-5780, or go to loanpronto.com. Equal housing lender, NMLS 166-1781, subject to lender approval.
It's electric in Smashville. The International Brotherhood of Electrical Workers Local 429 has a new path to a dignified career. Local 429 is accepting applications for the highest skilled electricians and linemen and is providing the best training in Middle Tennessee. They are the International Brotherhood of Electrical Workers Local 429. Call them at 615-889-4429 or go online to ibew429.org. IBEW Local 429, your proud seventh man since the beginning. Go Preds.
One is smart.
This has just been a constant trend for this team.
One is funny.
That's right.
Funny looking, maybe. Chase and Michelle with Chase McCabe and Michelle Knezovic.
Are you listening?
I'm listening.
Everybody's listening.
Weekdays from 9 to 11. Presented by Hair Club. Hair Club. Love your hair. Live your life. On 102.5 and 106.3 The Game and the Game Nashville app. You're listening to Stillman and Company, presented by TriStar Moving on 102.5 and 106.3 The Game and the Game Nashville app.
Aaron Rodgers still lingering. The decision is looming.
What, Trey Wingo?
It's on TV every 4 minutes on ESPN.
Yeah.
Aaron Rodgers, what's he going to do? Aaron Rodgers, what's he going to do? Well, Alan Lazard allegedly going to the New York Jets. They're in contract negotiations. There's another team involved. Nothing's been settled. Randall Cobb potentially being in conversation with the Jets. People are wondering around the internet, what's going on here?
Yeah.
Now, I don't know if they're going to have enough money to be able to pay every single human that is being alleged to the Jets, but the Aaron Rodgers situation has no answer still at this point publicly.
No.
I don't know privately. AJ would know in about an hour. What we're saying is we have no idea either. Same spot as yesterday.
No clue.
Same spot as Friday.
But
will an answer come soon? We have no idea. We'd assume with how everything has to kind of go.
Yep.
But that is not necessarily going to come from this particular program today. We'd like to let everybody know that.
There you go. That was Pat McAfee today. And the question is, what is going on with Aaron Rodgers? Trey Wingo put it out there yesterday. Rodgers to the Jets is done. And then immediately, Ian Rappaport and Adam Schefter, that's not true. We talked to so-and-so. We won't tell you who it is. But our sources say it's not true and the deal's not done and yada, yada, yada. And I think deep down inside, one, before Trey Wingo even reported it, we knew Rodgers was probably going to the Jets. Two, Trey Wingo's got cred. Trey Wingo is not some bozo that just says whatever. It's not like when we were trying to figure out if the Bears blog was telling the truth when it came to the Titans reaching out for the number 1 overall pick to Chicago. This is Trey freaking Wingo we're talking about. He's been doing this for 25 years. Now, he's not a newsbreaker. He's not an Adam Schefter. He's not an Ian Rappaport. He's not a Mike Garafolo or a Tom Pelissero or one of these guys whose job it is to break these. But he's got street cred. Now, the other part of that, too, is the fact that I don't even know who Trey Wingo works for now. Like, I know he hosts a podcast. I don't know who that podcast is for. I have no idea. And I love Trey Wingo. And I think Trey Wingo is a good man if you ever get to know him. But I don't even know who he works for now. So it's not like his bosses, when we don't even know who they are, it's not like his bosses are saying, Trey, we need more news broken. So here's what I think the case is. It's pretty obvious to me that when it looks like a duck and it quacks like a duck, that it is a duck. And when the Jets send their billionaire owner, who used to be the ambassador to the United Kingdom, across the country to go meet with Aaron Rodgers, chances are he's probably going to land Aaron Rodgers. Secondly, when the reports are coming out that the Jets are going to sign Alan Lazard. The Jets have Randall Cobb on their radar, which is a report that came out. The Jets are interested in Mercedes Lewis, who is about 96 years old. All guys from Green Bay. All guys you would probably say are Aaron guys. When you see that, it makes you think internally, they're probably going to go get Aaron Rodgers. I mean, I don't want Mercedes Lewis on the Titans. I don't want Randall Cobb on the Titans. Alan Lazard I could want, but I wouldn't pay him, the $11 million Jacoby Myers got, I wouldn't pay him. But those are Aaron guys. If Tom Brady was in free agency in 2020, and all of a sudden before Brady made his decision, the Tampa Bay Buccaneers swung a deal for Rob Gronkowski and brought in Antonio Brown, wouldn't you say to yourself, I bet Brady's going to Tampa Bay? So here's probably what happened. My guess is the Jets and the Packers are probably working out a contract or a trade for Aaron Rodgers, which will involve some kind of contract adjustment. Not because of the cap, but because of the fact that there's $58 million there in a guaranteed bonus, and neither side wants to pay it. The Jets know the Packers want to get rid of Aaron, so they want them to pay as much as possible. The Packers, who all of it. So they're probably working through that. My guess is the Jets are looking at the Packers saying, we're doing you a favor. We're not giving you a high pick. The Packers are saying, we're giving you Aaron Rodgers. We want a high pick. So that's probably, they're still probably in that arm wringing, is he going here? Is he there? My guess is Aaron Rodgers told Wingo. That's how Wingo got it. Because normally when one of these guys signs, it's like all of those guys at one time get it, which means it comes from the agent or it comes from the team. To me, if it comes just from Ian Rappaport or just from Diana Rossini, it came from the Titans. Sometimes the Titans give their news to the league network. Sometimes Vrabel feeds it to Diana Rossini, but that's where it goes when it comes from the Titans. But when it comes from another guy, that's probably the agent. And you hear the language through that. Well, because the agent knows how this works and the teams know how this works, they're probably still working through the details of, is Aaron going to take some kind of a pay cut, or is this going to happen, or is that? But Aaron knows he's going to the Jets. And Aaron probably likes Trey Wingo. And so Aaron probably told Trey Wingo. So yesterday, that whole just urination contest between, Trey Wingo putting it out there that Aaron Rodgers was going to the Jets, and at the same time the insider saying, that's not true. Please, wake up this morning. The Jets are interested in Alan Lazard, Randall Cobb, and Mercedes Lewis. Yeah, they're getting Aaron Rodgers. 615-737-1025. Diana Rossini.
There you
go. On cue, right from Mike Vrabel's cell phone, Diana Rossini puts out there the Titans are expected to sign Azeez Al-Shaair from the San Francisco 49ers. Who the hell's that?
He is a guy that last year started 9 games, played in 12, and had 44 tackles. That's it.
Is he a linebacker?
He is a linebacker.
Azeez Al-Shaair.
He has 2 sacks in his career.
So is he an outside linebacker?
That's a great question. I have no idea.
Azeez Al-Shaair.
But, he's a 49er, so you have to think that Carthon probably, scouted him or something, studied a lot of tape on him.
Sure. I'm looking at it right now. Niners Nation, Azeez Al-Shaair says his goodbyes. Excited for the next journey and grateful for the past. Let's pull it up. Now, in 2021, Al-Shaair had 102 tackles, and he had an interception, and he had a sack, and he's 6'2", 222.
25
years old. Let's see. It starts a little bit, but it doesn't look like he plays in all the games. 13 games and 13 starts in San Francisco. That certainly wouldn't help, given the fact that they want to get rid of all the injured guys if he had missed those 3 games in 2021 if he was injured. And then last year he only played 12 games, but he started 9 of them at linebacker. My guess is Azeez Al-Shaair is probably the linebacker next to Monty Rice. That this is the replacement for Zach Cunningham, who never played last year. So, kind of like the Dylan Cole guy, those kind of guys that got in there because all your middle linebackers were hurt. But I got to figure out why Azeez Al-Shaair missed all these games. Why he missed, 4 games last year? No, 4 games 2 years ago, where he played in 13 and started in 13. And then last year he missed 5 games. He played in 12 and he started 9. Let's see how he did in the playoffs. Let's see if he started in those. Azeez Al-Shaair played in all 3 playoff games for San Francisco in each of the last 2 years. And he started one of them in 2021, and he started all 3 of them last year. I'm thinking that you just got the middle linebacker from San Francisco who's not Fred Warner. Fred Warner is a bad boy. You're not getting Fred Warner. I'm thinking this is the guy who lined up next to Fred Warner. I mean, he's a tackling machine, though. 13 tackles. Well, that's in the playoffs, so that's per game. So really not so much a tackling machine. But there you go. Azeez Al-Shaair signed by the Titans. And I guess that means that we can take away a need, which would be inside linebacker. That's the replacement for David Long Jr. in Azeez Al-Shaair. 615-737-1025 is our phone number, 615-737-1025. We'll reset the needs now that we have another need off the board here. But also, I watched Andre Dillard's film. I have NFL Plus. I have the ability to watch the tape. He started 4 games in 2021 for the Eagles. I watched 2 of them. And what I came away with, we'll get to that coming up next. Join 1025 The Game for the 2nd annual Music City Celebrity Golf Tournament, benefiting Souls for Souls on June 7th at Hermitage Golf Course. Put your team together and come play with athletes, musicians, and other local celebrities to support a great cause and have loads of fun. Plus, you'll have the chance to win awesome prizes. Sign up to play, sponsor, or donate at theGameNashville.com/golf.
All the big plays.
Touchdown, Tennessee.
All the big stories.
The Titans' window to contend is however long Derrick Henry stays Derrick Henry.
All in one place. We are Nashville's best sports talk. 102.5 and 106.3.
Gets it back and scores.
Our execution was good. They have not found their groove. It's always great to win in this league. It's tough to win.
The Game and the Game Nashville app.
ElectronicExpress.com. We make it happen.
Gary Ashton here. People walk up to me all the time and say, don't sell without the intel. This message couldn't be more true. Right now, it's a fantastic time to buy or sell your home in Nashville, but you can't do it without the intel. No one has more intel than the Gary Ashton team. So what is this intel we keep hearing about? Intel so you can sell your home without stagings or showings? Intel on where to find your next home so that you can sell your current home while the market is hot? An intel that helps you win the buyer battle and cash in on your home equity. For more intel, visit GaryAshton.com, where we can give you the insight and the most up-to-date real estate intel in Nashville. Plus, the Gary Ashton team is the official real estate team of the Nashville Predators. Get the confidence to sell your home and find the dream address without the stress. Visit us today at GaryAshton.com. That's GaryAshton.com. And remember, don't sell without the intel.
Yes! Hey, Jim, everything okay? Did you see that catch?
No. Yeah, I'm happy about the touchdown. Just things are kind of off with me and Tiffany.
Hey, what's going on?
It's a little embarrassing, but I'm not making it happen in the bedroom. I don't know what's going on with me. And now Tiffany's upset. She thinks I'm not attracted to her anymore.
Hey, I had the same problem. But man, I found a secret.
Oh, yeah?
I started going to the Tennessee Men's Clinic for treatments, and boom, our sex life improved. Plus, I started taking testosterone, and I've got loads more energy.
Tell me more. Maybe it'll work for me.
The people at Tennessee Men's Clinic are low testosterone and ED specialists with multiple treatment options. It definitely helped me. And I got to tell you, now I can go the distance every time. Heather says I'm better than ever.
Hey, I'm in. What's their contact info?
You can book appointments online or just give them a call.
Great, thanks, man. Hey, Hey, could you move away from the TV? You can't see.
Your first visit to the Tennessee Men's Clinic is only $99. Book your appointment today. Call 615-208-9090 or book online at TennesseeMen'sClinic.com. Visit our website to learn more, including side effects, treatments extra. Results vary.
615 Chutney. You might recognize the name. Real Nashvillians know the 615 Chutney food truck used to be the spot. Now they have a full restaurant in Bellevue. Make no mistake, it's a new look with live music, an art gallery, and even a robot server. Yeah, a lot has changed, but it's still the same old chutney. They still serve up authentic and delicious South Indian cuisine to hundreds of satisfied customers every week. And they've become a Nashville staple along the way. Just ask around. Open for dine-in, carry out, and delivery through Grubhub. That's 615 Chutney in Bellevue, a very Indian affair.
Now, your Game Center update.
Hi, I'm Chase McCabe. This report presented by the law offices of Amanda Gentry. The NFL continues to make news with signings, trades, and rumors of trades, one in particular in New York. But let's start in Las Vegas, where Tom Pelissero reports that the Giants have traded for Raiders tight end Darren Waller by sending them a third-round pick. Elsewhere in free agency, wide receiver Jacoby Myers heads to the Raiders on a 3-year deal worth $33 million with $21 million guaranteed. All eyes continue to be on the Aaron Rodgers watch and whether he will land in New York with the Jets, while there are also rumors that the Jets are targeting Allen Lazard and tight end Mercedes Lewis, both former teammates of Rodgers. The Titans have been very quiet in the early part of free agency, only adding offensive lineman Andre Dillard on a 3-year deal, and earlier today, linebacker Luke Gifford. In basketball, Vanderbilt will open the NIT tonight as a 2 seed by hosting Yale at Memorial Gym. Coverage begins at 7:30 on 93.3 Classic Hits. And the Predators return home to Bridgestone Arena to take on the Detroit Red Wings. Pregame at 6, puck drop at 7 right here on 102.5, 106.3 The Game. I'm Chase McCabe with your Game Center update, presented by the law offices of Amanda J. Gentry on 102.5, 106.3 The Game.
For more, follow us on Twitter at 1025 The Game or visit thegamenashville.com. Tonight, your Nashville Predators are back home to take on the Detroit Red Wings. Coverage begins at 6 on your home for Smashville. WPRT FM Grove, WBUC HD2 Laverne, 102.5 and 106.3 The Game.
A Cromwell media station.
Where you have a voice.
He had a competent coaching staff. You just play terrible and you keep playing.
And we have strong opinions.
What a whiny freaking crybaby response.
This is Stillman and Company with Jared Stillman. Presented by TriStar Moving on Nashville's best sports talk, 102.5 and 106.3 The Game and the Game Nashville app.
Stillman and Company is delivered by TriStar Moving, 102.5, 106.3 The Game, streaming live on Twitter, Twitch, YouTube, and Facebook Live, thanks to Superbook Sports, live from the Hiller Plumbing, Heating, Cooling, and Electrical Studios. The Titans at Bridgestone Arena, by the way, where the Predators take on the Red Wings tonight. The Titans have signed, according to Diana Rossini, which means it came from Mike Vrabel, the Titans have signed Azeez Al-Shaair. It might just be Al-Shaair, but whatever. Azeez Al-Shaair from the San Francisco 49ers. We went over the fact that he starts a little bit. Now, he did miss some games last year, which is concerning. I pulled this up. Apparently, in September of last year, he missed a handful of games because he had a knee ligament tear sustained in the 49ers' loss to the Denver Broncos. San Francisco lost. Oh, yeah, Jimmy was awful in that game on Sunday Night Football. Al-Shaair suffered the injury to the MCL in his right knee in the second quarter of the 49ers' 11-10 loss in Denver. Al-Shaair registered 5 tackles before exiting the game with an injury. So an MCL, and he missed a couple of games because of that. I think we said that he missed 5 games last year or 4 games. That's why he missed them. 5 games last year with an MCL injury. Not sure I'm a huge fan of that because, again, you're trying to get away from the injured guys. But he does seem to be kind of a tackling machine, and he's the third guy in the linebacker package with Fred Warner and Dre Greenlaw. So, while I'd rather have Fred Warner and Dre Greenlaw, he does seem like a starting middle linebacker in the NFL who I would assume will come in and will start inside. Now that David Long Jr. is gone, he'll start inside next to Monty Rice. And now that's done. So they got their left tackle taken care of, And they've got an inside linebacker taken care of. They need 2 guards. They need a center, which we'll figure out tomorrow if Aaron Brewer's in the plans as a restricted free agent. We'll know at 3 o'clock. Literally 24 hours from now, if the Titans are tendering him a contract. They need a wide receiver too. They still need a defensive end or an outside backer, that edge rushing position. They've got their inside linebacker. They need a defensive tackle. We'll see if they tender Tier Tart. I would be shocked if they didn't. We will see if they end up doing that. And then we will also see about what they do at the corner position as well. But that is a need taken off the board. So now they've got 3 free agents signed, and this guy starts the most. Azeez Al-Sher starts the most out of any of them. So at least you have that. Now, Andre Dillard. I think Andre Dillard is going to start at left tackle for the Tennessee Titans unless they draft somebody with the 11th overall pick who's going to start at left tackle. And then I think Andre Dillard probably moves to right tackle, and then Nicholas Petit-Ferrer probably moves to guard. But what's happened a lot is I hear a lot of people that have all these opinions about Andre Dillard, and maybe they haven't really watched Andre Dillard play. So I pulled up his stats, and I saw that last year he started 4 games. So I don't know what happened to Jordan Mailata, but he started 4 games last year at about week 3, 4, 5, and 6 for the Eagles. Well, I've got NFL Plus, so I figured I would just go ahead, pull those games up, and I would just watch the coach's tape from the end zone to see what he looked like, that being Andre Dillard, so I could get an idea of what he can and cannot do. So I watched 2 games. I watched Dallas, I watched Kansas City. And that meant that Dallas, I watched him go up against Micah Parsons a lot. And Kansas City, I watched him go up against Frank Clark a lot. So with that, it's been a while, but it's time to enter Jared's Film Room.
You are now entering Jared's Film Room.
All right, let's start with the Dallas game. This was a Monday Night Football game. The Eagles got blown out 41-21, but let's start with the Dallas game. Early in the game, Micah Parsons. Now, this, I believe, was before Micah Parsons was Micah Parsons, but Micah Parsons was lined up for most of this game outside of Andre Dillard. Now, early on, Parsons was going to try to get around Dillard in order to get to Hurts. But what Dillard did, and I noticed this in both games, Dillard is not a physical guy. Dillard is not a push you back into the ground kind of guy. Dillard is more of a stay in front of you kind of guy. So what he would do is he would let Micah Parsons try to run around to try to get around him, like these guys got around Dennis Daly all the time, and he'd move his feet, and then he'd just push Parsons so that Parsons could not get a direct line to Jalen Hurts. It wasn't, some superhuman strength, but it was just throwing Micah Parsons off and allowing Jalen Hurts to have a little time. Now, I also thought they ran a screen pass from Miles Sanders right on that outside edge, and he pushed Parsons inside at one point, and that sprung Sanders for a nice little gain. He's not much of a downhill run blocker. In fact, I'm not sure he's much of a run blocker, period. I watched some of these games. There was one against Kansas City, oh my God, where they run this, RPO for Jalen Hurts. It's almost like a draw. And Jalen Hurts, they pull the left tackle, and that happened to be Dillard. And so Dillard pulls. Everybody blocks it up perfectly. So Dillard is now the lead blocker for Jalen Hurts, who's running through there. It's a linebacker. It's Dillard. It's a linebacker. It's Dillard. It's Hurts. All Dillard has to do is take out the linebacker, and he doesn't. If he takes out the linebacker, Jalen Hurts is probably still running. So he is not a great run blocker. And he is not like a mauler or a downhill kind of blocker that we're used to seeing from the Titans. Think of him maybe as the opposite of what Roger Saffold was. He did get bull rushed really hard once by 59. I thought that, with his hands, I think for the most part, he avoids holding more than what normally gets called. Now, he holds all the time, but it's not the kind of holding that gets called. In the Dallas game, they called one hold on him. It was on a 4th down play in which they had a backup guard in, and Dallas ran kind of a twist, and the guard lost his man, And so the guard had given up his man, was going inside, got skinny in between between Dillard and the guard, and he was going to sack Jalen Hurts. And so when Dillard saw that, Dillard basically tackled the guy, again, because it's 4th down, and if Jalen Hurts gets sacked, it's a turnover. Dillard tackled the guy. They immediately threw the flag. So he doesn't really hold that much, but he does use his hands a little bit. I don't have a problem with the one holding call he got. He got called for an ineligible man downfield on a screen pass to Devontae Smith. I'm not sure. I don't know if Jalen Hurts got the ball out too late, whatever it may be. Then there was one play where they threw a screen pass. I think it was for Gainwell. They throw a screen pass, and Dillard's the guy who's out in front. And, again, I'm used to when the Titans run some of these screen passes, if it's a Roger Saffold that's out in front or it's a Taylor Lewan that's out in front, and you've got Derrick Henry or Dontrell Hilliard behind, I'm used to Taylor Lewan looking at that linebacker out there, Roger Saffold looking at that linebacker and just taking that guy out. So they run a screen pass, and Dillard was matched up with Luke Gifford. He was the linebacker to get to the running back. Now, of course, Luke Gifford is the Cowboys linebacker that the Titans just signed. And so Luke Gifford is up against the big Andre Dillard. And I was hoping that Andre Dillard was going to lay him out. And he missed. He missed. And Gifford ended up making the tackle. So as far as like the mean, downhill, angry blocking, he doesn't really do it. That's really not his game. What I think he's good at is I think he's good in pass protection, and I think he's good at keeping the outside rusher in front of him. So I think he's good at not getting the quarterback sacked. Now, it's kind of hard to tell when you watch the Eagles play because a lot of what the Eagles do is Jalen Hurts gets the ball out very quick. It's short little passes, at least especially in 2021 before that A.J. Brown. It was a lot of short passes. And so it's hard to tell, how good of a pass blocker a guy is when the ball comes out 1-2. Now, against the Chiefs, I thought he held his own against Frank Clark. I thought he played well. Now, there was 1 4th and 2 where Kansas City sent an entire blitz out there, and he didn't block anybody. Jalen Hurts made a play, and they were able to pick up the first down, which led to a touchdown. But I am not kidding you when I tell you that all these guys rushed for Kansas City, and he didn't even move. He didn't block a single guy. I'm like, dude, you're the left tackle. Block somebody. So that one kind of drove me crazy. He got beat inside by Chris Jones, but Chris Jones didn't get to Jalen Hurts. I don't know if it's because they had a backup left tackle in Dillard out there, or if it's because Jalen Hurts is right-handed, but Jalen Hurts rolls out to the right, at least in the two games I watched a lot. Now, Dillard did get called for a brutal hold in the first half. They had 1st and goal. Jalen Hurts scrambled to about the 3-yard line, but when Jalen went to scramble to the left, Dillard grabbed 51 by the neck and pulled him down. It was a pretty easy holding call, and it did hurt the team. Now, they ended up scoring, but that doesn't mean that didn't hurt right there. And I thought he held his own against Frank Clark, in the matchup that he had against him. So, one thing that I did notice in the Dallas game was I did notice that early on, after about 3 series or so, they decided, talking about the Cowboys, they decided to flip Micah Parsons to the other side. And I found that to be fascinating because normally, you got a backup in there. You'll want Micah Parsons against that guy. Now, part of me wonders if the reason that the Cowboys did that was because Jalen Hurts kept rolling out to the right. But he did not allow a sack from Micah Parsons, and he kept Frank Clark in check. Again, he's good with his feet. He's smooth with his feet. He's not aggressive with his feet. He's a smooth, keeps the guy in front of him pass blocker, and is not an overly physical run blocker. So it's kind of against what the Titans are used to. But I think after having Dennis Daly out there at left tackle, if you can keep the guy in front of you away from the quarterback, I think they'll take it. And again, we don't know what the real money of this contract is yet. And the reason that we don't know what the real money is because I'm going to guess that the real money probably isn't that good. So I actually like the signing after watching 2 games of Andre Dillard to be the left tackle. 615-737-1025 will get your reaction on that. 615-737-1025 is our phone number if you want to weigh in. But just watching the film, I got it. And I could see what he was good at, and I know what he's bad at. Now, there is one thing that I don't understand as far as this Andre Dillard signing is concerned, and I am still waiting for the reasoning for this. We'll get to that coming up next. Hey, Preds fans, hang out tonight before the Preds and the Red Wings at the Superbook Lounge and Landshark Bar and Grill Margaritaville on Broadway with 102.5 and 106.3 The Game. Place your bets with Superbook and enjoy great food and drink specials. Plus, enter for a chance to win a pair of tickets to an upcoming Preds home game. That's the Preds and Superbook Sports at Landshark Bar and Grill Margaritaville on Broadway. Stillman and Company, live from Bridgestone Arena, 102.5, 106.3 The Game.
The crowd is standing on its feet. It's in the hole! It's in the hole!
Join 102.5 The Game for the second annual Music City Celebrity Golf Tournament, benefiting Souls for Souls, June 7th at Hermitage Golf Course. Put your team together and come play with athletes, musicians, and other local celebs.
Be the ball.
Support a great cause and have loads of fun. Plus, you'll have the chance to win awesome prizes. Sign up to play, sponsor, or donate at thegamenashville.com/golf.
There's never a good time for your furnace to go out, especially in the winter, but it's always a good time to call Lee Company. Our heating and air conditioning pros are available 24/7. No heat? Don't wait. Call Lee Company now at 615-567-1000. Our expert technicians will diagnose the issue and fix it right the first time. When you're cold, you need someone you can count on to bring the heat. Call Lee Company now at 615-567-1000 or visit leecompany.com.
In a world where human interaction seems to be reduced to chats and clicks and emails, where transactions are measured only by speed, where corporate policies overrule common sense, sometimes you just want to go old school. Welcome to Genesis Diamonds, a refreshing experience where personal relationships and authentic interaction are the norm, not the exception. At Genesis, you're here celebrating something awesome in your life, and we want to know all about it. We want to hear your story, listen to your requests, and be a meaningful part of whatever occasion this is. A proposal, an anniversary, a birthday, graduation, push gift, sweet 16. If it's important to you, it's important to us. So we don't care how long it takes. We're not paid on commission, and we're not beholden to some corporate rule book. We just want to help you get what you want to make it into a special memory. So take a break from modern shopping and go old school with us at Genesis. Let's start a real relationship that you can count on for life. Genesis Diamonds, Green Hills, and Cool Springs.
Hey, it's Jared from my official sportsbook app, the FanDuel Sportsbook app. This March, take your first shot at college hoops with FanDuel Sportsbook and get 10 times your first bet amount in bonus bets up to $200. That's right. Just bet $20 on the bracket and you'll land $200 in bonus bets, win or lose. That's $200 you can spend betting everything from the money line to point spreads to that 5 versus 12 matchup you're eyeing. All in an app that's safe, secure, and super easy to use. There's no better place to bet the tournament than with FanDuel Sportsbook. Sign up today by going to FanDuel.com/JGM and make every moment more with FanDuel all tournament long. I love the Duke Blue Devils. I think they are red hot. 21 and older and present in Tennessee. First online real money wager, only $10 first deposit required. Refund issued as non-withdrawable bonus bets that expire in 14 days and restrictions do apply. See full terms at FanDuel.com/sportsbook. If you do have a gambling problem, please call the Tennessee Red Line at 1-800-889-9789.
I had a nighttime routine for my frequent heartburn. I would drink milk, I would sleep upright with more pillows, but that painful burning stayed. So I made Prilosec OTC part of my morning routine. With just one pill each morning, Prilosec OTC prevents excess acid production, blocking heartburn day and night. Now I have a new nighttime routine. I call it sleeping.
One pill a day, 24 hours, zero heartburn. With Prilosec OTC. It's possible while taking Prilosec OTC. Use as directed for 14 days to treat frequent heartburn, not for immediate relief.
Want to weigh in on the conversation? It's a brain booster. Slide into our DMs. Or just text or call at 615-737-1025. Our phone line is driven by WilsonCountyHyundai.com. Strong opinions and a strong personality on your drive home. This is Stillman and Company, presented by TriStar Moving on 102.5 and 106.3 The Game and the Game Nashville app.
What do we know about him? What do you think of the deal? Reported 3 years, $29 million by Mike Garafolo.
I think that's great value to get a guy that could come in and be your starting left tackle. One thing you have to remember, this guy entering 2021, he was projected to be the starting tackle, but he got beaten out by Jordan Mailata. And I'll say this about Mailata. They brought him in the year I came here, so 2018. They brought him in. They used a low draft pick on him. You could Google his highlights, the crazy rugby player. He was Jeff Stoutland's personal project. So this was bound to happen. I'm talking about one-on-one work over a 3-year process, right? So Mailata beat him out, and he signed a huge deal with the Eagles last year. So that's really what happened there.
There you go. That was TD talking about the Andre Dillard signing. Speaking of TD, he literally just texted me, the Titans signing Azeez Al-Sher, the middle linebacker from the 49ers. TD said, yo, Al-Sher is a baller. He is instinctive in coverage, matched up with tight ends at times. He is going to rack up the tackles. One of the guys that flows to the ball really well. Not bad at getting around the blockers either. Sometimes he takes them on and disengages well to make the tackle. He is absolutely a fit. So that comes from TD, who loves the signing of Azeez Al-Sher for the Titans, the linebacker, again, from San Francisco. I need to know. I don't know anything about him. I don't know, again, I didn't even know he really existed until about 5 minutes ago. So it's hard for me to sit there and have an opinion on this. The one thing that I guess I kind of do want to know is, do they plan on him wearing the green dot, or do they plan on Monty Rice wearing the green dot? Which, if you wear the green dot, that's probably a little more important. And then the bigger question, and I don't think that we have the answer to this yet, but do we know how much money they're paying him? Has that been reported, how much money Azeez
I've been keeping an eye out. I have
getting?
not seen that yet, though.
So you don't know how much he's getting. I mean, if it's $5 million and he's as good as TD says he is, then that's a great deal. If it's, $10 million, now it's a different story. And that takes me back to the Andre Dillard thing, which is, it came out yesterday from Mike Garafolo, 3 years, $29 million. And yet, we didn't even hear how much money was guaranteed. Normally when a guy signs, we knew right away, Nate Davis, 3 years, $30 million, 19.25 guaranteed. And that agent, if it's a good guarantee, he wants it out there. Well, Dillard is probably going to play left tackle unless the Titans draft somebody with the 11th overall pick to play left tackle. And so then you could move him around on the line to right tackle or whatever it is you want to do. But I want to know how much of that $29 million is guaranteed. Is it $10 million guaranteed? Is it $19 million guaranteed? Because then it'll tell you how much of a real contract it is, how much of a real investment it is that the Titans are making on Andre Dillard. I mean, I do think Andre Dillard has the size to play left tackle. I think he's got the ability as a pass protector to keep his guy from sacking the quarterback. I don't think he's a mean run blocker, which normally the Titans would need. But in order to truly feel one way or another about it, I need to know how much money this guy's actually making, and we don't have that yet. And I feel the same way about Azeez Al-Sher. I'd like to know how much money he's making, and it didn't say in the Diana Rossini tweet how much money he's making, and that's probably because the agent didn't tell Diana Rossini. Mike Vrabel probably told Diana Rossini, because kind of feels like Mike Vrabel tells Diana Rossini everything. Phone lines are driven by WilsonCountyHyundai.com. 615-737-1025 is our phone number. AG has been waiting patiently. He's up next. What's up, AG?
I've been listening to this show for a long time, man. I just want to salute you. I want to salute you today, man. I'm talking about it ain't been a lot of fireworks going off, like big, fireworks going off, but I'm talking about you still nailing the show, man. I love that Jerry's film room, man. You laying it down, man. You the king of the Titans media in Nashville for sure.
Well, I appreciate that. I mean, I don't know how much of that's true or not. It sounds like something, that a relative of mine would say. But, I do appreciate it. I'll say this about the show, and then we'll get back to your phones on it because I don't want to spend all day talking about me. But I will say this. I do work really hard on this show. And I don't work really hard on the show because I get paid any more if I work hard compared to if I mail it in. But it's because I enjoy doing it. And because I enjoy what we talk about on this show. And not only that, I was talking to somebody today, and I was like, if you want to be a good radio host, like you have to be, in order to be a good sports radio host, you have to be knowledgeable, you have to have personality, and you have to know how to run a radio program. At the same time, I think you have to be a big sports fan. You really have to be a sports fan. And sometimes I think people on the radio are more fans of themselves than they are fans of sports. And then it leads to, being uninformed or only knowing what Twitter says. And in that case, I don't care about what Twitter says. Ron texts into the text line and says, hey, Jared, as a fan, I feel like the Titans are holding us fans hostage in some ways. We still don't really know if they're retooling, rebuilding, or making one more run for it all. But sitting here watching the Titans move on from a lot of players doesn't sit well, especially when they're not making many moves. There's free agents out there, and yet not many moves for a team that's trying to make one more run at it. Well, you just said you didn't know if they were trying to make one more run at it. Now you're telling me they're making one more run at it. Do you see a big splash in free agency coming here soon or nothing big until the draft? This whole free agency thing is boring to me as a fan. I've told you, I don't think there is a single free agent out there, even if you had Stan Kroenke money to go spend in free agency. I don't think there is a single free agent that is out there that changes the dynamic of this team. I'm not sure there's a free agent out there that changes the dynamic in a positive of any team. Maybe the Bears are better because Nate Davis is a legitimate starting lineman in the NFL, and so now they have it at guard. But I don't think the Bears are going to win more games today because they got Nate Davis. And I don't feel that way about McGlinchey with the Broncos, which is the biggest deal. I don't even feel that way about Derek Carr. You crunch the numbers. Andy Dalton last year, throwing to Chris Olave and Jawan Johnson, had better stats than Derek Carr did, throwing to Devontae Adams, and the now sent to the New York Giants, Darren Waller, which that's a whole nother clown show with the Raiders in and of itself. But those are the two biggest free agent deals so far, McGlinchey and Carr. And I'm not sure that either of those two deals necessarily alters, the course of one team or another. I keep wondering this year which move in free agency is going to be last year's version of the Hassan Reddick move. Because I'd love to see a ranking of the free agent grades last year. Oh, A+ for Jacksonville for Christian Kirk, or B+ for this team signing that guy, or whatever it may be. But I'd love to see how people felt about the Hassan Reddick deal, because I think that was the most important deal in free agency. And I wonder what this year's Hassan Reddick deal is going to be. Again, I think free agency reinforces your team. It fills gaps on your team, but it shouldn't make or break your team. Your draft and your star players and your previous draft players getting better is what will make or break your team. 615-737-1025 is our phone number, 615-737-1025. More of your phones. Again, the Titans have signed Azeez Al-Shaair from the 49ers. TV absolutely loves it. Plus, there was one move that came down the pipe this week that does affect the Titans. We'll get to that next. Stillman and Company, 102.5-106.3 The Game. Let me tell all the fine folks out there that to join us this Friday, live from the Rusty Nail for the second day of the NCAA tournament. Enjoy $3 Tulane beers, drafts while watching some hoops during a St. Patrick's Day celebration. The Rusty Nail is located in Hermitage and provides a great local atmosphere with a large outdoor patio and volleyball courts. Plus, great drinks and great food, especially the wings. And I better get to try the wings while we're out there Friday. That's 102.5 The Game at the Rusty Nail at 4054 Andrew Jackson Way in Hermitage this Friday. Doors open at 10 a.m.
When you want all the...
Going in and the score. Blast the score. He risks one, they score.
And don't forget the...
Oh, what a stop. Sliding across to make the save. The backhander, nice stop.
When all you want is... Smashville. have you covered. Hear every Predators game right here. We are your home for Smashville. 102.5 and 106.3 The Game and the Game Nashville app.
Attention all fire and safety line experts. Middle Tennessee's fastest growing fire protection company is looking for experienced service technicians, designers, and sprinkler system experts like you. Tired of working for a large corporate employer? Work for a company where you're more than just a number. Jarrett Fire Protection is owned and operated by Nashville natives and wants to invite you to grow with their amazing team.
Hi, I'm Jason Jarrett, owner of Jarrett Companies. I'm looking to hire experienced sprinkler experts and will offer a sign-on bonus of up to $5,000 for certified professionals. In addition to our great benefits that include a 401k match, PTO, and top pay with annual bonuses, we will also provide you with the top-of-the-line tools, trucks, and equipment that you need to grow your career. Our customer base is large and business is booming with many opportunities for advancement. Give us a call or go online to jarrettfire.com and apply today to become a member of our family and protect our community. That's JARRETT fire.com. Jarrett Companies, where we are above and beyond industry standards.
Gary Ashton here. People walk up to me all the time and say, don't sell without the intel. This message couldn't be more true. Right now, it's a fantastic time to buy or sell your home in Nashville, but you can't do it without the intel. No one has more intel than the Gary Ashton team. So what is this intel we keep hearing about? Intel so you can sell your home without stagings or showings? Intel on where to find your next home so that you can sell your current home while the market is hot? An intel that helps you win the buyer battle and cash in on your home equity. For more intel, visit GaryAshton.com, where we can give you the insight and the most up-to-date real estate intel in Nashville. Plus, the Gary Ashton team is the official real estate team of the Nashville Predators. Get the confidence to sell your home and find the dream address without the stress. Visit us today at GaryAshton.com. That's GaryAshton.com. And remember, don't sell without the intel.
Bar Lines in the Omni Nashville Hotel.
Hey Nashville, Chef Phillip at Bar Lines at the Omni Hotel. Come try some of our new menu items like the Nashville Hot Fish and Chips, Nathan's Hot Dog Burn Ends, or the Nashville Chicken Jam Band. Go Preds.
Attending an event downtown? Dine at Bar Lines in the Omni Nashville Hotel.
This is Buster Olney, host of the Baseball Tonight podcast, inviting you to join us. We go 3 days a week with great guests from players such as Mike Trout and Carlos Correa, managers like Dusty Baker and Dave Roberts, general managers like Brian Cashman and Alex Anthopoulos, and our regulars, Tim Kirkchin, Sarah Langs, Jeff Pass, and Carl Ravitch. Baseball is a great fishbowl of humanity, and we go big game fishing every day. Listen wherever you get your podcasts.
When you want live and local.
If they were just better at the offensive line.
You can be a contender in the AFC again.
They've had more winning seasons than not. 102.5 and 106.3 The Game has you covered. Looking for some national programming?
Why do I want to get a running back like that 5 more years?
The AFC now is so deep at quarterback.
Check out 94.9 The Fan. Nashville's home for all things sports is 102.5 and 106.3 The Game and 94.9 The Fan.
What's up, Nashville? This is Stephen A. Smith. You're listening to Nashville's best sports talk, ESPN 102.5 The Game.
Aaron Payne has signed a 4-year, $90 million with $60 million in guarantees. Highest paid D tackle ever, remains in Washington. He was franchise tagged because I guess they were close on a deal taking place, but they weren't there. The Washington Commanders did not want to give up Darren Payne, who's an absolute dog in the middle of that defense. So they end up negotiating a little bit further into the franchise tag, and he gets $60 million guaranteed.
There you go. That was Pat McAfee on the Daron Payne deal, which was signed over the weekend. And they are right. Daron Payne is an absolute dog. But that being said, I do think it's important to point out that a lot of people saw that $22.5 million a year, the $60 million guaranteed, the $90 million, and they said to themselves, what's that mean for Jeffrey Simmons? And I think it does affect the Simmons deal a little bit. I think it affects it a little bit, and I'll explain here. But if I were the Titans and I were negotiating with Jeffrey Simmons, it would not affect it a lot. And what I mean by that is As far as the Simmons deal is concerned, when we had TD on last week for the TD Power Hour, I threw out there for TD that the Titans could sign Jeffrey Simmons to a 5-year, $112.5 million contract. I'd guarantee $62 million of it, and I would give him a base salary, an average salary, which doesn't really matter, but I guess it matters to some people to have the highest average at 22.5. And that 22.5 would be second in the history of the NFL behind Aaron Donald. I think we all know, Aaron Donald is a different animal when it comes to negotiating a contract. Plus, Aaron Donald has the ability to retire and not have to worry about it as leverage, and Jeffrey Simmons does not have that. And so that would be the deal that I would make, and that has to change now because of the Deron Payne deal. But it only has to change a little bit because now I have to pay him more than $22.5 million per year. So now I got to throw in maybe an extra $1 million per year. So it's going to cost me probably $5 extra million or whatever it may be, which is not a lot, but it is still something. But it's probably going to cost me $5 extra million or whatever it may be so that the average value on the Simmons contract over 5 years ends up being 23.5 as opposed to the 22.5 that I was going to give Simmons last week that Deron Payne just signed for. Now, here's one thing that is absolutely out of the question. If Simmons' agents were to come to me, because Deron Payne signed a 4-year deal, and Chris Jones, after he played on the franchise tag, he signed a 4-year deal with Kansas City. Aaron Donald signed a 3-year deal with the Rams. Jeffrey Simmons wants to sign a 4-year deal with the Titans. He doesn't want to sign a 5-year deal. And so if they came to me and they said, we want a 4-year deal, not a 5-year deal, I'd say you can go back to the drawing board with that one. Come sit down with me at the negotiating table when you want to go 5 years. And what I would say is Deron Payne was on the franchise tag when they reached that extension. You would be playing for me on the 5th-year option, then I would use the franchise tag. The Titans leverage with Simmons, and I don't see another player on this team that over the next 3 years could be a franchise player that would then force the Titans to pick somebody else over Simmons. I mean, even if it's Tannehill or Henry, and they have all pro caliber years this year, you'd still rather just take your chances trying to sign them as opposed to letting Simmons hit the market. So I have the ultimate leverage here of I've got this year on the 5th-year option and 2 tags for you to play on. Well, I've got you for 3 years. And those 2 years after this year are not guaranteed until I actually use the tag on you. So I've got you for 3 years. Why would I sign you for 4? All I get out of it is 1 extra year. I want 2 years out of you. I want 2 years. So I think Jeffrey Simmons is probably sitting there with his camp saying, oh, wow, Deron Payne just signed this 4-year deal. Yes, on the tag. You're not on the tag yet. I want a 5-year deal. Now, with the 5-year deal, what that would allow me to do is to sign Simmons for $112.5 or $117.5 million and say, this is the biggest contract in the history of defensive tackles of all time. And maybe that's what he's looking for. I don't know. But Chris Jones is going to sign a 4-year deal. Aaron Donald just signed a 3-year deal. Deron Payne just signed a 4-year deal. You got to sign me a 5-year deal. And I don't think Simmons is going to want to sign a 5-year deal, but I'm going to give him a lot of guaranteed money now. I mean, I'm going to make this worth your while, but you got to give me 5 years. 615-737-1025 is our phone number. Alan Lazard is official to the Jets. So apparently Jacoby Myers, the 2 top receivers on this market, were supposedly Jacoby Myers from New England, who signed with the Raiders today, and he averages $11 million a season, and Alan Lazard from the Packers, who just signed with the Jets today, and he will average $11 million a season. And so now that it's official that they've signed him, and that they're looking at Randall Cobb, and that they're looking at Mercedes Lewis, Aaron Rodgers is going to the Jets. Could you imagine if Aaron Rodgers ends up not going to the Jets?
It would be such an Aaron Rodgers thing to do.
I know, but gosh, what, port 2 teams? What's he want to port the Jets for? What did the Jets ever do to him?
I don't know. Brett went there, so I don't know.
He's got no reason to port the Jets.
I know.
But that's what that would be. But again, Aaron Rodgers, in this case, is definitely going to the Jets. Again, Alan Lazard just signed a contract with the Jets. He's going to be one of their receivers. Garrett Wilson is going to be their other receiver. So make of that what you will. Also from Clarksville on the Alan Lazard deal says $22 million guaranteed is so much. I mean, I don't think it's that much for a wide receiver. Now, again, the high end for the wide receiver is $25 million. This here is $22 million guaranteed for a number 2 receiver. The one thing the league is doing this year for the most part is if you're a number 2 guy, even if you're the best at what you do, in the past we've seen times where teams say, gotta have an outside linebacker, so even though he's really not a number 1 outside linebacker, we gotta sign him like a number 1 outside linebacker. What the league has done this year is if you're not a high-end guy, you're not going to get high-end money. If you're a number 2 guy, you're going to get number 2 money. $11 million a year is number 2 money. It is certainly not number 1 money. I mean, Robert Woods was making, $16 million with the Titans? I mean, that is not, again, $11 million a year is not number 1 money. And normally the league would say to themselves, they would say, oh, well, we got to have a receiver, and Aaron wants us to. So even though Alan Lazard's not that good, and in other years with better free agent wide receivers, he wouldn't get as much, $16 million. And they're not doing this. $22 million guaranteed, $11 million a year for Lazard. I'm not a huge Lazard fan. I think he's fine. I think that's a fair deal. And I think a lot of these deals have been fair. So I'm not going to scoff at that one.
Do you think they'll sign OBJ?
The Jets?
Supposedly he's on Rodgers' list, on the wish list that he gave the Jets.
I don't think anybody wants to sign Odell Beckham. And I'm going to tell you why. I think I saw a report that said Odell Beckham wants $20 million. And so what's going to happen here, as far as Odell Beckham is concerned, is he's not going to get $20 million. And again, this goes back to we need a number 1 receiver. Well, let's pay this guy who's not like a number 1 receiver. Let's pay him number 1 receiver money. I mean, let's do that. No. So Odell's going to have to drop his asking price. I'm not convinced Odell's going to be willing to do that. I don't think a lot of these teams want to deal with Odell. And I think the Cowboys workout, or I don't know if it was the Cowboys or I think it was the Cowboys. The Cowboys workout where he didn't make it because he got kicked off the flight because he was passed out. Like, teams don't want to deal with that. They don't want to deal with it. And he's coming off of an injury, and he wants things on his terms, and he wants it. No. You have not been an elite receiver for 5 years. We're not dealing with that. So I don't know where Odell's going to end up, but I don't think any team that's really competing is going to bring in Odell for Odell money. If Odell does what Antonio Brown did with the Buccaneers and takes, I'm desperate to play ball money, then I think you'll have a lot of teams interested in Odell. But I don't think anybody's bringing in Odell Beckham for Odell Beckham money. 615-737-1025 is our phone number, 615-737-1025. Again, the Titans have made a signing. TD's got some more info on that and your phones, including the most obnoxious thing that gets said to me on a consistent basis this week of the year. We'll get to that next. Stillman and Company right here on 102.5, 106.3 The Game. Hey, Preds fans, don't miss tomorrow night's Smashville Live at Brew House South in Cool Springs starting at 6. See Predators players up close and personal and get autographs and pictures. And tomorrow's guests are Luke Evangelista and Igor Afanasiev. Smashville Live is brought to you by Spring Hill Heating and Cooling, Little Harpeth Beer, Superbook Sports, and Dulce Vita Tequila, pure and simple.
Your home for MTSU basketball is 94.9 The Fan.
3-ball, yes sir!
All the big shots and moments live here. MTSU basketball is on a station built for you. 94.9 The Fan.
Imagine yourself in a new Toyota, like the best-selling Toyota Tacoma, with powerful off-road capabilities and the best resale value in its class. Now through April 4th, you can get low 3.99 APR financing on a new 2023 Tacoma, with approved credit through TFS, excludes TRD Pro, and every new Toyota comes with 2 years no-cost maintenance included. Get complete details at buyatoyota.com. Ready, set, go get your Toyota today. Toyota, let's go places.
Al Gill here from my friends at Dunkin'. Warm up and feel the love with Dunkin'. Treat yourself and a loved one to a brown butter toffee hot or iced latte, which is superb paired with the bacon avocado tomato sandwich. Be sure to try the all-new stuffed biscuit bites. It's a warm biscuit dough wrapped around a mixture of bacon, scrambled egg, and cheddar cheese. Visit us at our newly remodeled Dunkin' on Briley Parkway in Nashville or the new Dunkin' in Mount Juliet and our other locations throughout Middle Tennessee. Price and participation may vary. Limited time offer. Terms apply.
What if you could be credit card debt-free in 10 days and save as much as $1,000 a month? Loan Pronto's all-new Express Equity Line of Credit program is just what you need. Hey, Willie Donick here. You don't have to do a full home refi. You can tap a small portion of the equity you have and enjoy a super low monthly payment. With Loan Pronto's Express Equity Credit Line, you can close in 7 to 10 days. And a $50,000 loan would only cost you around $400 a month. Use that money to pay off high-interest credit cards or do a home improvement. You can access up to 90% of your home's equity, and 9 out of 10 homeowners won't even need an appraisal. Even if you did a total refi recently or just bought your home, you can tap the equity with this fast, easy program. Stop the madness and say no to 24% interest fees. Call Loan Pronto today. 615-499-5780. That's 615-499-5780 or go to loanpronto.com. Equal housing lender, NMLS 166-1781, subject to lender approval.
Hey, it's Chase McCabe, and in the past, hair loss was inevitable. But now, you have a choice for thicker, fuller hair. Trust the experts with 45 years of experience at Hair Club. They've helped more than 500,000 clients love their hair again. No matter your age, stage of hair loss, or budget, Hair Club can customize a solution for you. And for a limited time, you can get 10% off when you book a free consultation today at hairclub.com/chase. That's hairclub.com/chase.
The Dell Technologies semi-annual sale starts now with limited quantity deals on select performance PCs powered by 12th Gen Intel Core processors. Save on select Vostro laptops with built-in security features and select Latitude laptops with enhanced privacy, collaboration, and connectivity. Save on select essential accessories plus free shipping and special financing with Dell Business Credit. Call a Dell Technologies advisor at 877-ASK-DELL. That's 877-ASK-DELL.
A show that lives and breathes sports.
Focus in, focus in, focus in.
From the SEC.
Credit to the Alabamas, the Georgias, and the Ohio States of the world.
To the Preds.
They've been in a lot of really tight games, but they're not winning enough of them.
To the Titans.
He's talking about what this franchise has built over the years.
Caroline, Willie, and D-Mace.
What is this? Check it out.
Weekdays from 11 to 2 on 102.5 and 106.3 The Game and the Game Nashville app. You're listening to Stillman and Company, presented by TriStar Moving on 102.5 and 106.3 The Game and the Game Nashville app.
You know, we have to address it. We have to at least look at it, and we are, and we have, and we do it every single day. You know, that I meet with Todd, that we meet with Frank, that we're trying to figure out what these injuries are, Gentry, and I know that everybody, you know, has got the answers. I don't know if I have the answers on, you know, that 90% of the injuries occurred in the game, right? Of an ACL or an MCL or a high ankle sprain. I mean, those are hard, you know. We look at soft tissue injuries. We look at those soft tissue injuries of, you know, repeat offenders. You know, I mean, it doesn't take too hard to look and see that, you know, Christian Fulton and David Long are, you know, I mean, they're repeat offenders of soft tissue injuries. They have to figure out a way to train and act like, you know, the game is played at a high speed. Kevin Byard hadn't pulled a hamstring since we've been here. You know what I mean? And there's a durability factor to playing professional football that we should not overlook.
There you go. That was Mike Vrabel after the season, asked about the injuries. We're going to look at it. We're going to do whatever it takes. You know, these repeat offenders, we're going to figure it out. We will do whatever it takes. And I applauded him. Ben Jones, even though they love Ben Jones. Ben Jones, gone, hurt, see ya. Taylor Lewan, hurt, see ya. Bud Dupree, hurt, see ya. David Long, hurt, see ya. Nate Davis, hurt, see ya. I mean, if you're hurt, you're out. But now the Titans have gone out and gotten two guys that didn't finish the season hurt, but do have injury histories. Now, I don't have a problem with Andre Dillard breaking his forearm last year. Like, you break your forearm, you put it in a cast or whatever for 6 weeks, and on you go. It's like Derrick Henry's foot. I'm not worried about that. But TD has gone back, and we talked about the torn MCL in the knee that Aziz Al-Shaair, as TD points out, that's how it's pronounced. Aziz Al-Shaair had the knee injury last year and missed 4 or 5 games with a torn MCL. TD says he tore his ACL and MCL in October of his final year at Florida Atlantic. That was 2018. His MCL tear was to his right knee, and according to the Palm Beach Post, he tore his UCL, which is that elbow injury that pitchers have, that forces them to have Tommy John. He tore his UCL in 2017. So now we're talking about 2 guys that they've signed to start next year, and I don't think they've signed Luke Gifford to start. So 2 guys that they have signed to start that both have multiple injuries in their past. How concerning should that be? I mean, I think about the fact that the Titans said, hey, we're going to figure out the injuries. And Vrabel specifically brought up soft tissue right there in that cut, and a knee ligament is not a soft tissue injury. That's a ligament tear. And a broken forearm or a triceps, again, that's not a soft tissue injury, I don't think, which is the tricep that cost Andre Dillard his 2020 season and probably his starting spot. That's not necessarily like a pulled hamstring or a groin or a back injury or something like that is consistently recurring. But I am wondering about the fact that the Titans, who vowed to figure out the injuries, have decided they're going to change out their playing surface in case that's part of the reason as to why they're getting hurt. They have now signed 2 guys that have some injury issues and both missed multiple games last season. I'm not saying it's the end of the world. And every player ends up getting hurt one way or another in the NFL. Jack Conklin gets hurt all the time, and everybody gets mad because, the Titans didn't give him a contract. They didn't pick up his 5th-year option because he gets hurt. They didn't give him a contract because he gets hurt. And again, it's not like these guys don't play, because even though they did get hurt, they were available to play this past season for a majority of it. I'm just making you aware of the fact that they brought in 2 guys that have some kind of an injury history one way or another. Devin from Dover texts in. I've been asked this question about 6 times over the last 2 days. Quote, why does it matter, Jared, about how much money Andre Dillard is making? The cap is not real, right? Well, let me explain something to you. The cap is not real. The idea of we can only spend $5 million, that's not real. Budgets are real. And the Titans have a budget. They can't go out there and spend $800 million and be $300 million in the red. I don't think anybody's interested in that. And so if you're one of these teams that spends and spends and spends and spends and spends, like the Saints or the Browns or the Bills, or then it doesn't matter to me if you spent $29 million and you guaranteed it for Andre Dillard, because who cares? You don't need that money anyways. You'll just throw more money at it. The Broncos, where you spend and spend and spend and spend and spend. Unfortunately, the Titans don't have that kind of money. And the Titans don't spend like they have that kind of money. So when they spend on a tackle, they've got a budget, and they can only spend X amount of dollars. Last year, they spent $217 million before they ended up spending, a total of $230 on the season. Well, right now, going into free agency, they were at $130, and I don't know how much they've added with these 3 signings, probably not that much. Factor in about $24 million in real cash in the first year for Jeffrey Simmons, and now those budgets start to matter. And that does matter. The actual money does matter. And a lot of the reason why the actual money matters is because now, in my opinion, it affects how much of an investment you really have in this guy. Let's say the Titans guaranteed, let's say they gave him the Nate Davis deal. Nate Davis was 3 years, $30 million, and the first 2 are essentially guaranteed. Let's say they made the same deal for Andre Dillard. Now, I think that would be crazy. I think that you'd be crazy if you gave Andre Dillard that contract, but let's just say they did. Well, now you're pretty much committed to him playing left tackle or right tackle for you for the next 2 years. On one level, I mean, you're going to have a $10 million swing guy? So now what do you do with the 11th overall pick? It's all about the investment that you have in the player. I don't care about the cap. You can do whatever you want with the cap. The cap space is fake. And a texter says the cap space is the budget. No, it is not. Saying cap space is fake is saying there's no budget. Cap is real. No, it is not. The cap space is not the budget. The Denver Broncos yesterday had $25 million in cap space when they woke up in the morning. I want to say the Titans had somewhere around $30 million in cap space. The Broncos in day one of free agency, Mike McGlinchey, 5 years, $87.5 million. Ben Powell, 4 years, $52 million. Zach Allen, 3 years, $45.5 million. Alex Singleton, 3 years, $18 million. Jarrett Stidham to be a backup quarterback, 2 years, $10 million. And Chris Manhertz, 2 years, $6 million to be a tight end. They had $25 million in cap space. It's not a budget. In fact, the more money that you give out in year one, the lower the cap number is because you give it to them as a signing bonus, and that prorates over the entire length of the contract. Cash budget and cap budget are not the same thing. By the way, Jerry Jones. Has anybody noticed Jerry Jones not spending in free agency? Jerry does not spend. Jerry, now, they're close to the cap. But Jerry doesn't spend. They were 30th last year in cash spent. Cash matters. Cap does not. You can do whatever you want to the cap. And I guarantee you, think about all these people out there that are like, oh, well, we can't afford, talking about the Titans, we can't afford to go out and get free agents because we're paying Ryan Tannehill all this money next year. You're paying Ryan Tannehill $27 million. They're paying Russell Wilson $49.5 million. And they just went out and got a guard, and they got a tackle, and they got a pass rusher, and they got a backup quarterback. I mean, think about it. The cap's fake. And why are the Broncos able to do all of this? Because they're the richest owners in the league. Cash, real. Cap, fake. Just remember that. 615-737-1025 is our phone number, 615-737-1025. I think the Titans' free agency plan is doing one thing in particular, and it is giving them the ultimate ability to make the most of the best opportunity that they've got to make this team better. We'll get to that next. Stillman and Company, 102.5, 106.3 The Game.
Every day we are live and local.
Most people picked them to make the playoffs before the season even started.
And your source for Nashville sports.
He can still wait for 5 more games before he makes that decision.
We are Nashville's best sports talk. 102.5 and 106.3 The Game and the Game Nashville app.
ElectronicExpress.com. We make it happen.
Hi guys, it's Mark. Are you struggling with erectile dysfunction? Did you know that a major medical breakthrough is available and it isn't a pill? Today, Tuesday, March 14th, we're running a one-day special you won't want to miss out on. Hillside Medical Clinic uses the most powerful form of wave therapy. This is a technology clinically shown to repair blood vessels and improve blood flow. It's backed by 60 clinical studies, including from Cambridge. If you're ready to regain the spark in your bedroom, today is your day. Call us now and you'll qualify for the assessment and ultrasound totally free. You'll also get a gift that can produce rapid and powerful results in the bedroom in minutes. You're going to love that one, guys. Trust me. And today only, we're offering 6 tune-up treatments to our patients free. This is an unprecedented offer worth hundreds of dollars, but call today and qualify totally free. Call 615-576-5000. That's 615-576-5000. Guys, put a stop to your erectile dysfunction and get your life back. Call Hillside Medical Clinic now to qualify. This offer ends today. 615-576-5000.
Sports and leadership go hand in hand. In fact, 94% of women executives were student athletes. Play Like a Girl is creating a more equal playing field for the next generation of women in leadership. You can help too. Become a mentor, donor, or volunteer. Learn more at iplaylikeagirl.org/mentor.
Get in zone, AutoZone.
Welcome to AutoZone. What are you working on today? Thinking about gas mileage. You know, changing your oil with a full synthetic oil like Valvoline Advanced can help your engine get more miles. Right now, you can get 5 quarts with an STP Extended Life oil filter for only $37.99. Get started on your next job today with the parts you need when you need them at AutoZone or AutoZone.com.
Get in zone, AutoZone.
Restrictions apply.
Now, your Game Center update.
Hi, I'm Chase McCabe. The NFL continues to make news with signings, trades, and rumors of trades, one in particular in New York. But let's start in Las Vegas, where Tom Pelissero reports that the Giants have traded for Raiders tight end Darren Waller by sending them a third-round pick. Elsewhere in free agency, wide receiver Jacoby Myers heads to the Raiders on a 3-year deal worth $33 million with $21 million guaranteed. All eyes continue to be on the Aaron Rodgers watch and whether he will land in New York with the Jets, while there are also rumors that the Jets are targeting Alan Lazard and tight end Mercedes Lewis, both former teammates of Rodgers. The Titans have been very quiet in the early part of free agency, only adding offensive lineman Andre Dillard on a 3-year deal, and earlier today, linebacker Luke Gifford. And ESPN's Diana Rossini is reporting that the Titans will sign former 49ers linebacker Azeez Al-Shaair. Terms of the contract have not yet been released. In basketball, Vanderbilt will open the NIT tonight as a 2 seed by hosting Yale at Memorial Gym. Coverage begins at 7:30 on 93.3 Classic Hits. And the Predators return home to Bridgestone Arena to take on the Detroit Red Wings. Pregame at 6, puck drop at 7 right here on 102.5, 106.3 The Game. I'm Chase McCabe with your Game Center update, presented by the law offices of Amanda J. Gentry on 102.5, 106.3 The Game.
For more, follow us on Twitter at 102.5 The Game or visit thegamenashville.com. Live from the Hiller Plumbing, Heating, Cooling, and Electrical Studios. WPRT-FM Pegram, WPUC HD2 Laverne. Nashville's exclusive home for the Nashville Predators. 102.5 and 106.3.
A gutty performance. Do your job.
And the Tigers regain the lead.
The Game.
A Cromwell media station.
Where you have a voice.
He had a competent coaching staff. You just play terrible and you keep playing.
And we have strong opinions.
What a whiny freaking crybaby response.
This is Stillman and Company with Jared Stillman. Presented by TriStar Moving on Nashville's best sports talk, 102.5 and 106.3 The Game and the Game Nashville app.
Stillman and Company is delivered by TriStar Moving, 102.5, 106.3 The Game. Streaming live on Twitter, Twitch, YouTube, and Facebook Live. Thanks to Superbook Sports, live from the Hiller Plumbing, Heating, Cooling, and Electrical Studios. We're at Bridgestone Arena, where the Preds are taking on the Detroit Red Wings tonight at 7 o'clock. Good to have the Predators back in town. As you heard in Chase's update right there, the Titans have signed Andre Dillard. They've signed, and right now, to play left tackle, they've signed Luke Gifford, who is a special teamer, and they have signed Azeez Al-Shaair, a middle linebacker from the 49ers. I assume he will replace David Long Jr. Now, we don't know how much money this Azeez Al-Shaair deal is going to be. We certainly don't know how much money the Andre Dillard deal is actually going to be, and I would just like to know. But here's something I like about the Titans free agency plan. You have to remember something about improving your team. If you're going to go out and spend money on a guy right now, he needs to be somebody who actually makes a difference. What the Titans have actually done is they've gone out and spent money in free agency and brought in guys who don't do so much sometimes. And then during the season, they've gone out and they've found guys on the cheap, like a Dontrell Hilliard, who actually becomes a really good player for them. So it's about spending appropriately. But here's another reason why I like the Titans' plan. I remember the 2017 draft. The Titans, because they had worked out the number 1 pick trade with the Rams the year before, held LA's 5th overall pick. And they held their own 17th overall pick in that draft. And I remember everybody, and I remember just taking the calls going into that draft And everybody saying, we need wide receivers and we need corners. And I remember people saying that all the time. We need wide receivers and we need corners. And then the Titans on the clock with the 5th overall pick took Corey Davis out of Western Michigan. By the way, Corey Davis is about to get cut by the Jets after they just signed Alan Lazard. But Corey Davis never made the Pro Bowl. After that, Jamal Adams made the Pro Bowl. Mike Williams, Christian McCaffrey made the Pro Bowl. John Ross, total bust. Patrick Mahomes has made the Pro Bowl. Marshawn Latimer's made the Pro Bowl. Deshaun Watson's made the Pro Bowl. Hassan Reddick's made the Pro Bowl. You see what I'm saying? I hate when people draft for need, because that immediate need that you have at that time will matter for this upcoming season, but it won't matter 2 or 3 years down the road. Well, when you've got the 11th overall pick in the NFL draft, you want to draft a guy that is going to be on your team for 10 years. There's no guarantee that that player will be, but you want to draft an impact player that's going to be there for years to come. When the Titans took Jeffrey Simmons in 2019, they already had Daquan Jones and Jarrell Casey, who they were paying real money to on their defensive line. Defensive tackle was not a position of need. Neither was their second-round pick, A.J. Brown. Now, they needed a guard, and they took Nate Davis with their third-round pick, but they didn't need a receiver when they drafted A.J. Brown. They didn't need a defensive tackle when they drafted Jeffrey Simmons. Well, the Titans in this draft, because 4 quarterbacks are going off the board, I think, with the first 4 picks, which means there's going to be 2 elite defensive players that go, and then there's going to be a smattering of tackles, corners, first overall pick in this year's draft. There is going to be a left tackle that's available. I can all but guarantee you that one of Peter Skoronski, Paris Johnson Jr., or Broderick Jones out of Georgia will be on the board when the Titans pick. Just like I think there will be a corner who is available when you are there with that pick. Whether it's Christian Gonzalez, whether it's Devin Weatherspoon, whether it's Joey Porter Jr., one of those guys is probably going to be available with the 11th overall pick. Same with pass rusher. So there's all these different guys that could be there. And the Titans have got to grade them all out. And they could sit there, if this were a week ago and they hadn't signed Andre Dillard, and I don't know if Andre Dillard's going to be good or not. I see his strengths when I watch the tape. I see that he's not a great mauling run blocker when I look at it as well. I have no idea. But if they've got Paris Johnson Jr. or they've got Peter Skoronski graded as the highest player on the board at that time, they can still take him. Because they can move Andre Dillard to right tackle. They can move Nicholas Petit-Ferrer inside. They can do all kinds of different things. If they are on that clock and they've got Christian Gonzalez, the cornerback out of Oregon, and he is big and fast, and they've got him as the highest rated player on the board, they can take him. And not only that, they can turn around and trade Christian Fulton. And we know Vrabel wants to get rid of the soft tissue guys. He can trade Christian Fulton and then recoup another pick and then go get another player. So the Titans now have options. Here's another option the Titans have, trading back. They still have holes. They need another wide receiver. They need more offensive linemen. They've got 2 picks in the first 2 rounds. And we can assume when you take a guy in the first 2 rounds that that guy should be able to play right away. But the wide receivers, as we have been led to believe in this year's draft, are more 19th overall, 23 overall, 26 overall, and not necessarily 11. So if the Titans get there with the 11th pick, they can move back. And I think that that is what they're going to want to do. If they don't have a guy that they love that is going to be a star, is let's trade back. And you saw what trading for the 18th pick cost last year. A.J. Brown and the 100th pick, a third-round pick in the draft. The reason I bring that up is because DJ Moore just went as part of a package to move from 9 to 1. So if you move from 11 and you move back, and let's say you target a receiver, and you say, you know what, we know that by the 20th pick, one of these guys, Quentin Johnston of TCU, or Zay Flowers of Boston College, or Jordan Addison of USC, one of these receivers that we like is going to be there with the 20th pick, and you move from 11 to 20, or you are going to get somebody else's first-round pick this year, probably their first-round pick next year, and probably an extra third or second-round pick this year. You just added another player. You just added maybe that guard that you don't have right now on either side of your center. Maybe you added the center that you need. And you draft now with that extra second-round pick, John Michael Schmitz out of Minnesota, and he's your center for the next 7 years. Hell, if the Titans are sitting there and they want to move up in this draft, they now can do it because at least they have a left tackle. He might not be the best left tackle, but he is an NFL left tackle. I've watched the tape. I watched him play Dallas last year, go up against Micah Parsons. In 2021, I watched him go up against Frank Clark. I'm telling you, he can play left tackle in the NFL. Is he going to be a Pro Bowler? Doubtful. He's not a great run blocker. He's not a very physical player, but he keeps his man in front of him. I think that these moves so far are setting the Titans up for the ability to do whatever they want in the first round of this year's draft. And that is where you're going to get better. That's how you're going to win this season. You're not going to win this season by signing a Nate Davis, for instance. You're not going to win this season by adding Yannick Ngakoue as a pass rusher opposite Harold Landry. You're going to win this season if Treylon Burks becomes the A.J. Brown type player that they thought they were getting when they drafted him. You are going to win this season if Chig Okonkwo takes that explosive playmaker step and becomes more consistent, and now is a guy everybody's got to worry about catching the ball and running for a touchdown. You're going to get better this season if you take an impact player with the 11th overall pick who changes the game, like Micah Parsons did for the Cowboys 2 years ago, or like J.J. Watt did for the Texans. That's how you get better. Or you can add more players by trading back, and then you get your second receiver. That's how you get better. And so I like the plan right now as far as it affects the Titans. And I like the plan of, hey, go out there and get guys that can start, that can be adequate players, that can come in right away and take that starting spot, and now I don't have to worry about it. But let's not go crazy. Because the last thing I want is for the Titans to be sitting there at 11 saying, well, we have to take this guy with this pick because we don't have. I hate when teams do that in the NFL. I think it always screws you up. I think it always screws you up. Breaking news from Adam Schefter. The Indianapolis Colts are trading Stephon Gilmore to the Dallas Cowboys. Why? I think Gilmore sucks. I think he's a safety now. I don't even think he's a corner anymore.
It's a fifth-round compensatory pick is what they're giving up.
Yeah, nothing. And I don't even think Gilmore makes that much money. I think this is Jerry's way of kind of appeasing the fans without having to write a big check. I mean, because, you know, Jerry does not spend. Jerry is cheap. And this is another example of that. But I'm sure the talk shows, Gilmore's one of these TV guys, you know, like Julio Jones was when the Titans acquired him. Gilmore's a TV guy, so tomorrow on TV. What does this mean for the Cowboys' Super Bowl chances? They signed a guy who 4 years ago was a legitimate number one corner, and now he's more of a safety. What do we make of it? Not sure I care much there. But hey, the Colts got an extra fifth-round compensatory pick because of it. Oh, well. 615-737-1025 is the phone number, 615-737-1025. And again, I like the free agency plan the Titans are operating with right now. I know you don't. I'm telling you I do. There is one position that if they signed, and they signed today, I would be a very happy man. Just because of my internal anxiety. We'll get to that next. Stillman and Company, 102.5, 106.3 The Game.
We are your home for every big pass.
Kevin Harvick takes over the race lead.
Big wreck.
Trouble turn 2. One car is around and hard into the outside wall.
And big win.
Ricky Stenhouse Jr. has won the Daytona 500.
Yeah! Woo!
Catch every lap of NASCAR on 102.5 and 106.3 The Game and the Game Nashville app.
Houston Clinic Orthopedics at TriStar Hendersonville Medical Clinic offers world-class orthopedic care. The doctors at this location specialize in hand, knee, shoulder, hip, foot, ankle, and spine day appointments. Get back to enjoying life. Schedule your appointment online at tn.houston.com or just walk in to Houston Clinic Orthopedics at TriStar Hendersonville Medical Clinic. When experience matters, trust Houston Clinic Orthopedics.
Predators fans, Brewhouse South in Cool Springs and Brewhouse Highway 100 in Bellevue is your home for hockey action all season. They are Predators approved. All games are on, and they're even gonna give you the sound. Get awesome game day drink specials. When you think hockey, think Brewhouse South on Galleria Boulevard in Cool Springs or Brewhouse Highway 100 in Bellevue. Go Preds!
We pride ourselves on being transparent, opening up the books, and sharing all the secrets of the diamond industry. We have a passion for this, and part of having a passion is sharing that passion.
Genesis Diamonds Vice President David Cooper says, at Genesis, you don't just get an entry-level course in diamonds, you get a PhD.
We love educating our customers, even over-educating our customers about diamonds and gemstones, so they can truly see the difference in what we offer.
At Genesis, diamonds are not a side business. It's their only business.
We eat, breathe, and sleep diamonds.
So whether you end up buying at Genesis or not, come for the education.
The better educated we can make you at Genesis Diamonds, the better a shopper you're going to be, whether you shop with us or anyone else. You will be able to tell the difference and know what you are buying, so you make the best decision for you.
Genesis Diamonds, proud to offer one of the largest selections of GIA certified diamonds in the nation, with no middleman markups, no retail pricing games, no commission salespeople, and no nonsense. Genesis Diamonds, Green Hills and Cool Springs.
Hey, it's Joe Rexford here for FanDuel Sportsbook, folks. This March, take your first shot at college hoops with FanDuel Sportsbook and get 10 times your first bet amount in bonus bets. That's up to $200. That's right. All you got to do is bet $20 on the bracket, and you'll land $200 in bonus bets, win or lose. That's $200 you can spend betting everything from money line, point spreads. You know that 5 versus 12 matchup. Oh, man, people love the 12s, right? Now, this is all on an app that's safe, secure, super easy to use, and the ease of use is very important to me, folks. Take it from me. There's no better place to bet the tournament than FanDuel Sportsbook. So sign up today by going to FanDuel.com/Joe102 and make every moment more with FanDuel all tournament long. You must be 21 or older and present in Tennessee. First online real money wager only. $10 deposit required. Refund issued as non-withdrawable bonus bets that expire in 14 days. Restrictions apply. See full terms at FanDuel.com/sportsbook. If you have a gambling problem, call the Tennessee Red Line 800-889-9789.
For adults with moderate to severe plaque psoriasis who are candidates for systemic or phototherapy, now there's Skyrizi, Risankizumab Rizza, a prescription-only 150 milligram injection. With Skyrizi, 3 out of 4 people achieve 90% clear skin at 4 months, and Skyrizi is just 4 doses a year after 2 starter doses.
Nothing in me go hand in hand. Nothing on my skin, that's my new plan. Nothing is everything.
Don't use if allergic to Skyrizi. Serious allergic reactions and an increased risk of infections or a lower ability to fight them may occur. Before treatment, your doctor should check for infection and tuberculosis. Tell your doctor if you have an infection or symptoms, such as fever, sweats, chills, muscle aches, or cough, or if you plan to or recently received a vaccine.
With Skyrizi, you could achieve 90% clearer skin. Ask your doctor about the #1 dermatologist-prescribed biologic in psoriasis and visit Skyrizi.com or call 1-866-SKYRIZI to learn more.
Want to see our smiling faces? You can watch us on Twitch, Twitter, YouTube, and Facebook Live.
We are good to go.
Presented by Superbook Sports, voted #1 sportsbook in Vegas. Strong opinions, and a strong personality on your drive home. This is Stillman and Company, presented by TriStar Moving on 102.5 and 106.3 The Game and the Game Nashville app.
How do you feel right now if right now the Titans are sitting there and they say, okay, we've got Dillard penciled in at left tackle. We've got Petit Ferrer penciled in at right tackle, and we're going to tender Aaron Brewer at $2.6 million, and we've got him penciled in at center. How do you feel about their current offensive line position, given the market the way it is and the draft the way it is?
I think that's a really good start. I mean, at one point, Brewer was considered to be the future at center. So you're just going back to how it was supposed to be. I feel good about that also. I actually just got done talking to Jackson Kirkland from Washington. The Titans have been in touch with him. We're talking about a 6'7", 321-pound guard. And he is violent. He loves to run block. He's solid in pass pro too. So this is a guy like a day 3 option. There's going to be more of those guys coming out. And by the way, they met with Osiris Torrance out of Florida as well. Now, if you go that route, you're going to have to use a higher pick. So I don't know how that works.
There you go. That was TD talking about the offensive line. Now, tomorrow the Titans are going to have a couple of decisions to make. One is going to be on Nick Westbrook-Akine. You know, he's a restricted free agent. Do they work out a deal with him? One tomorrow is Aaron Brewer. Now, I'm not convinced Aaron Brewer is a $2.6 million player, and at 270 pounds, I cannot play Aaron Brewer at guard in the NFL. I mean, I think James Lofton said it best when the Chargers played the Titans last year, and Aaron Brewer got rocked, and James Lofton, Hall of Famer, was, Aaron Brewer plays hard. We call all these Titans games, and he's a good player. He plays hard. But at 6'1", he's too short to be a guard in the NFL. At 280 pounds, he's too small to be a guard in the NFL. And yet, given the state of the roster, where Dillard right now is penciled in at left tackle, where Petit Ferrer is penciled in at right tackle, we know they're going to have picks in the draft. As of right now, I'd have to tender Brewer a contract for next year, even though it's $2.6 million, and I don't think he's a $2.6 million player. Why? Because I got to have somebody. I mean, I got to have somebody. Somebody texted me earlier today, and I have said that I'm on board with this current Titans free agent plan, but somebody texted me before the show and asked, you know, when are the Titans going to go out there and sign anybody? Are they trying to stink? And I said, I think these players in free agency kind of stink for the most part. Like Jacoby Myers, who the Raiders just paid $11 million to. And the person texted me back and said, you have to put 5 linemen on the field. And they are right. The Titans are going to have to put 5 linemen on the field. And even though Aaron Brewer is not an impact player for me, as far as even at center, he's too small. He's not. To me, he's a solid backup. Like, that's what he is, a backup. And I like him as a backup. But $2.6 million is not really backup kind of money. But because I need to put 5 offensive linemen on the field, I think I have to tender him a contract tomorrow. And let me say this, I do have anxiety about the guard and center position for the Titans. I know that they're not going to go into the season like they have the last 2 years with, we'll figure it out at right tackle. We'll figure it out at guard this past year. We'll figure it out. I know they're not going to do that. But I am sitting here saying, please sign a guard, a big old fat guard. Put him next to Dillard. Put him next to Petit Ferrer. I don't care. Give me a big old fat boy who can keep his man in front of him, who blocks in the running game, and who most importantly stays on the field. I don't need a guy who plays 10 games. I need a big old fat boy who can play 17 games. Now, I don't care. Give me a big old fat one. And if you just signed one, then all my anxiety would go away because now you still have Brewer. So worst comes to worst, you got 4 guys there. You know you're going to draft somebody. Okay, fine. Now you got 5. There is one player that nobody talks about who I liked in training camp, who I liked in the preseason, and who I liked when he started at the end of the year. And the Titans literally did not have an offensive line. And they put him out there. Jordan Roos last season was a practice squad-ish kind of guy. but he ended up starting at the end of the year when everybody was hurt. I kind of like Jordan Roos, the big old fat boy, but he plays tough. And Malik Willis scored a touchdown in that game against the Texans, and Jordan Roos literally picked him up by the shoulder pads and drug him into the end zone. And I like that, especially when you're fat. I mean, give me a fat boy. That's what I want. Just one of them. That's all I need. Phone line driven by WilsonCountyHyundai.com. Going back to the cap. Oh, I hate this. I hate when people are like, oh, no, the cap space. What are they going to do? Texter says, you cannot be George Steinbrenner with Yankee budgets with a hard cap. Stop. The NFL does not have a hard cap. Even Joe Rexrode, the strongest and most adamant defender of the salary cap, even he wouldn't say that you have a hard cap. He knows it's not a hard cap. Texter continues, the cap can be manipulated only to a point. It's finite, not infinite. No team can have whatever budget they want in the NFL. That's just false. To which I sent this texter a text back. I sent this to Caroline this morning. This was a headline from Pro Football Talk. Revised deal increases cornerback Jalen Ramsey's full guarantees by more than $30 million while creating $12.89 million in cap space. So the Dolphins gave Jalen Ramsey $30 million more in guaranteed money. And they created $13 million in cap space. Why? Because the cap is fake. That's why. Oh, goodness gracious. Some of you texters in here are like, no, Stephon Gilmore's still good, Jared. Yeah, that's why the Colts got a 5th-round compensatory pick in exchange for Stephon Gilmore. Stephon Gilmore is he's not only over the hill, he's not only on the back 9, he's on 18. He's not even on 11, 15. He's on 18. He can't run anymore. And when you're a corner in the NFL and you can't run anymore, you're not a corner. You're a safety. And Stephon Gilmore's got good ball skills, so he'd be a good safety. But he's only making $7 million for a reason. And I love it. Jerry makes this trade, and now Jerry doesn't have to worry about anybody being, when's Jerry going to sign somebody? Gives up a 5th-round compensatory pick, pays him $7 million, which is a drop in the bucket, and doesn't have to spend any money in free agency. Classic Jerry Jones. What do we make of the Andre Dillard signing? Our offensive line guru, Trevor Maddich, will join us coming up next here. What's he think of the Titans so far? What's he think of the Titans going forward? And how this has set them up for the draft. Trevor will do that with us next. Stillman and Company right here, 102.5, 106.3 The Game.
Hi, I'm UC Saros. And this is Smashville.
Now here's a try off to the side. What a stop made by UC Saros there.
Unreal. You're listening to the flagship of the Nashville Predators Radio Network. ESPN 102.5 The Game.
Over the years, more men have started to seek help for hormonal deficiencies and imbalances. And Dr. Jeffrey Lodge and wife Daphne, along with their experienced staff, give men the treatment required to improve your quality of life, improve your immune system, energy level, cognitive function, and more. There's no better time to achieve a healthy lifestyle. What are you waiting for? Give Cool Springs MD a call today for an appointment at 615-486-3458 or visit our website at coolspringsmd.com.
It's Quaz with Little Harpeth, and I'm just having one of our Chicken Scratch American Pilsners. It's one refreshing beer and a good example of the German lagers that we craft right here in Nashville. Chicken Scratch is made with locally sourced raw white corn, giving it a subtle cornbready sweetness. And speaking of sweetness, Chicken Scratch's closest associate goes by the name of Deer Crossing Hellas, also a lager with a light crisp body and golden color, and it won us a gold medal at the Great American Beer Festival. So be on the lookout for our craft lagers. And as always, thank you for supporting our little brewery.
At the law office of Amanda J. Gentry, we are committed to defending your rights. We have a team committed to helping you navigate the court system, whether you've been accused of a crime or you're going through a messy divorce in custody. Call our team to help you navigate this system. We are here to protect your rights, to demand your rights, to enforce your rights. 615-604-6263. 615-604-6263. AmandaJGentry.com.
Get a great deal on one of the most versatile tractors in the industry, the Kubota BX, which is part of Kubota's tractor lineup rated #1 in durability and owner experience. Stop by Krebs Kubota today and bring home select BX series equipment for 0 down, 0% APR for up to 72 months, plus save up to $800. Now through June 30th, see Krebs Kubota or go to KubotaUSA.com for more details. Krebs Kubota, Middle Tennessee's preferred equipment dealer. Columbia, Franklin, and Murfreesboro. Online at KrebsKubota.com.
The Dell Technologies semi-annual sale starts now with limited quantity deals on select performance PCs powered by 12th Gen Intel Core processors. Save on select Vostro laptops with built-in security features and select Latitude laptops with enhanced privacy, collaboration, and connectivity. Save on select essential accessories plus free shipping and special financing with Dell Business Credit. Call a Dell Technologies advisor at 877-ASK-DELL. That's 877-ASK-DELL.
I can't believe tax season is here already. Look at all this info I have to enter.
Phil's small accounting firm is growing in numbers.
Why didn't I take that typing class in high school?
A data entry specialist could really help him in a crunch.
I got blisters on my fingers.
Indeed can help him hire great people fast.
I need Indeed.
Indeed you do. You can schedule and conduct virtual interviews all from your employer dashboard. Visit Indeed.com/credit and get $75 towards your first sponsored job. Terms and conditions apply.
102.5 and 106.3, The Game is live and local.
And now, let's meet the starting lineups.
Robbie and Rex Road 6 to 9.
You are talking about a team that's building a roster.
Chase and Michelle 9 to 11.
He's still under contract.
It's not always X's and O's.
Caroline, Willie, and D-Mace 11 to 2.
Trades, free agents.
Let's get it going. I think this is a good hire.
And Stillman and Company 2 to 6.
I can give you one of the best coaches in the league.
And don't forget, we're your home for all things Nashville.
He scored!
Nashville's best sports talk. 102.5 and 106.3, The Game.
Hey Nashville, this is Gary Bettman. You're listening to Nashville's best sports talk, ESPN 102.5, The Game.
The Boohoo salary cap crew is just blowing up the text line about how, oh no, all these teams at some point they can't go out and get every player. I'm like, yes, they can. All they have to do is just convert every salary to signing bonus and you open up more cap space. The question is, do you want to do that? Do you want to spend the money? The cap itself is fake. I'm just telling you. The reason why the Rams aren't good isn't because they spent so much money. The reason the Rams aren't good is because they've dealt all their first-round draft choices. That's why they're not good. But I can't do this. I cannot do this every single day during free agency about the cap. So with that, Trevor Maddich joins us now on the program, presented by Houston Clinic Orthopedics, when experience matters. Trev, the Titans have signed Andre Dillard. We don't know how serious of a contract it is because we don't know how much of the $29 million over 3 years is guaranteed. He was a first-round draft choice out of Washington State. He got beat out by Jordan Mailata with the Eagles, started 4 games last year in 2021, but was more of a swing-ish tackle, first-round talent. What do you make of that for the Titans to bring him in? Clearly they have a left tackle hold. What do you make of it?
Jared, I love this. Absolutely love it. And he's the kind of a guy that can come in and start and be steady for them. He won't be the kind of road grading mauler that Titans fans are used to with Taylor Lewan and guys that, you really want to see on that offensive line. But you know what? You're not going to be able to sign Anthony Gonzalez when he was 25 years old. He's already retired from the Bengals. You're not going to be able to sign John Hanna from the Patriots when he was 25. He's gone. So who do you have now? And what are your choices? And so you get this guy in there, and he can at least allow you to sleep at night because he's got the length and the athleticism to stay in front of guys on pass pro. And from a run blocking standpoint, he's not going to drive guys off the ball with any great power, but he'll stay in front of them, and he'll allow the offense to work. I mean, at Washington State, he started for 4 years. I mean, he was absolutely fantastic in their offense, but that offense had him up at a 2-point stance and basically pass blocking a lot of the time, and run blocking there was largely redirecting. Well, now he's got several years in the NFL with NFL coaching to teach him how he can use his particular gifts with his hand in the dirt to come off the ball. He's still not that great at it, but he's better than he was when he came out of college. And so you've got a guy with a first-round grade coming out of college who is in position to be able to hold down that left tackle position for you. Now they can do something else with that 11th pick if they want to. They don't necessarily have to go for an offensive lineman if there's another guy at another position that grades out higher just to fill the need. I love this choice.
You know, Trev, it's funny you bring that up. When I watched the tape this morning of his start last year against Dallas and then his start last year against Kansas City, the one thing that I noticed with both Micah Parsons and Frank Clark was that he kept those guys in front of him. You know, he didn't knock them back or anything like that, but he kept those guys in front of him and he kept them away from the quarterback. Now, Chris Jones worked him on an inside move one time, but he didn't give up sacks in the games that I watched, and he didn't commit a lot of holding penalties in the games I watched either. You know, we always hear with receivers that there's all these different skills, but the most important thing is get open and catch the ball. As far as Andre Dillard is concerned at left tackle, how much emphasis, especially after what we watched last year with Dennis Daly, how important is it that, hey, this guy just keeps the edge rusher off the quarterback?
Yeah, you have to define what success is going to look like. And you know, protecting the quarterback obviously is the first choice, the first job of a left tackle, or else nothing else will work, and your third down package is going to not work. And then you've got a whole lot of issues because you need to be able to convert 3rd and 7 with the quarterback back in the pocket, waiting for pass patterns to develop farther downfield. So that has to happen to be able to sustain long drives. But at the same time, you know, what is success? We love the guys that are just vicious, that make opposing defensive linemen fear playing them. We love those guys. This isn't that guy, but this is the kind of guy that'll hold it down. Now, you mentioned it. It's really good eye on your part, Jared, to notice that he stayed in front of Micah Parsons. Not that many people stay in front of Micah Parsons. The way he beats people is with redirection and explosive cuts that take him from one shoulder of a pass blocker to the other shoulder of the pass blocker. And if the pass blocker can't move his feet quite fast enough, he'll turn. And once he turns just a little bit, now the door is open, and that's how Parsons gets a lot of his pressures and sacks. And this guy Dillard is athletic enough to stay square enough so that when things start to break down, he still is able to push and slide and drive a guy past the quarterback. Is it ideal? No. But the thing is, it can hold down the position. I mean, I wouldn't be surprised at all if he is starting at left tackle for the Titans next year. And that will allow the Titans to focus on interior positions. I mean, I'd love to see him keep Nicholas Petit-Frere at right tackle and sort of continue with the investment that they have made in him at that position to get him experience. And now you need both guards and center. But this is a draft that's actually pretty deep at tackle. Not necessarily elite, but good guys that'll be, you know, able to compete for you. And at guard and center, especially in the range of 2nd and 3rd rounds, there are guys that you'll be able to take that ought to be able to step in, especially on a team with so many holes like the Titans, to be able to hold it down while they develop as young players. So, you know, the draft just got really, really interesting after so many weeks of everybody expecting the Titans to take Paris Johnson, tackle out of Ohio State. They still might do that. Of course, he might not be available. And who knows, this might be, Jared, something that is a bit of a 3D chess by the Titans, because look at what the Bears have done. Mm-hmm. The Bears traded out of the 1st pick in the draft to the 9th pick with the Panthers, and they got DJ Moore at wide receiver. Well, they really needed receivers, right? And so they got DJ Moore, so that helps to address that. They also badly need a left tackle. And if they take Paris Johnson at 9, then what priorities should the Titans have at 11, right? And by bringing in this left tackle, Andre Dillard, it gives them a lot of choices without at least having the fans panicking.
You know, to that point, Trevor Matich is with us. To that point, do you think that, let's say that the highest rated player on their board at 11 is a tackle, and they end up taking him, would you move Dillard to right tackle and kick Petit-Frere in, or would you kick Dillard inside to guard?
I would not put Dillard anywhere other than left tackle.
Really?
That's where that's where he's been practicing. He's kind of long and lean. He's got long arms. He came out of college at like 6'5", 313, something like that. You know, not a real big physical presence. And at right tackle, you're typically facing a defender who is a run stuffer first. And you don't want your right tackle to get stuffed. inside, you need a guy that can bend and get under those 320-pound warthogs and drive them out of there. And I just don't think Dillard's body type is well suited to that. I think he'd be much better if he can hold down the left tackle position. Even if you draft Paris Johnson, put him at right guard. That's where he played 2 years ago at Ohio State. You can move Petit Frere inside if you need to, but I would tend to think that Dillard would be a left tackle in their mind right now. Now, I may be wrong about that, but just knowing his body type, he's well suited to left tackle. He's a fish out of water anywhere else.
Trevor Matich is our guest. The Titans have a decision to make by 3 o'clock tomorrow as far as what they're going to do with Aaron Brewer. Aaron Brewer last year, we talked about it. He's just too little to play guard in the NFL at 277 pounds or whatever it may be. But people do view him maybe as more of a center than a guard. It would be $2.6 million to tender him a contract as a restricted free agent with the 3 holes at guard, center, guard, Trevor. Would you pay Aaron Brewer $2.6 million to return and pencil him in at center with the hope that maybe he would be a reserve next year?
I would absolutely tender him for $2.6 million if I couldn't sign him for a longer deal. He's the kind of a guy that you want on your team. He's a fighter. He's a scrapper. He does the right things the right way. You mentioned his size. He's just not big enough to really play in this league. He shouldn't actually be here. But because he's so tough and he's so smart and he understands leverage so well, he's able to be much more effective than his size should allow him to be. But you don't want this guy to be your main starter at center or either guard. You just don't. I mean, if you're one of those 320, 330-pound defensive tackles, of all the 31 teams you're going to face in the league, potentially any given year, you want to face Aaron Brewer every year because you can pick him up and shake him like a rag doll, even when he's got leverage. So I'm not saying he's not a good player. I'm saying he's effective and he's good, and he's one of those guys that helps you sleep at night if you're a coach, because you know that whether he goes in at center, left guard, or right guard, if somebody gets hurt, he will execute his assignment properly with the proper footwork. He's unlikely to get thrown to the ground. He's likely to stay up and at least allow the offense to function to a degree. And you want a guy like that on your team. But I would not expect him to be my starter, because if they do, then they're leaving a big hole that other teams will game plan to exploit.
Can you be 270 pounds at center in the NFL? Is it different than guard in that regard?
I would say the problem with all 3 of those positions is getting pushed back half a yard or a yard. Mm-hmm. If the initial surge of a defensive tackle or nose guard drives you back a half a yard or a yard, it makes the running back cut more sharply when he cuts back. It slows him down, and it pushes you back farther into the area where the quarterback wants to step up if he gets an edge rush and he has to step up to avoid it. And so all 3 of those positions, they don't require size. They require the ability to drop anchor. And Brewer can do that better than what you would expect at that size. But at the same time, there was a guy that played for the Miami Dolphins. What's his name? I'm spacing his name. He was a perennial All-Pro back with Dan Marino. And he never drove anybody off the ball. What he did was turn him. He'd snap the ball, and he was so quick and had such good leverage that he'd turn him, and then with leverage, he'd just stone him right there, and the running back would run right by his hips, to the left or the right. But he never got driven back. And that's the kind of guy that Aaron Brewer is, except he's not nearly as big as that guy relative to the guys that they face. And so, I love Brewer. I love him on the team. I would re-sign him, but I would look to replace him. And there are guys that are, guys coming out of Minnesota and Wisconsin and even Ohio State that will be available in the 2nd or 3rd round at center that I think would be good to be able to invest some time in.
Trevor Matich is with us, as always, presented by Houston Clinic Orthopedics. How does the Dillard signing affect the 11th pick and the different positions the Titans may need with that pick? We'll get into that with Trevor. And, of course, we had the blockbuster on Friday. Carolina moves up to number 1, and they're thinking about taking Anthony Richardson. We'll discuss next. Stillman & Company, 102.5, 106.3 The Game.
185! Every team needs a quarterback.
185!
That's why we have
Hasselbeck, bootleg, rollout, toss,
touchdown.
Tim.
You can run good plays at the right time.
ESPN NFL analyst Tim Hasselbeck gives his expertise on all things NFL.
You evaluate players, and then you're turning them over to the coaching staff.
Every Tuesday at noon.
At the right time.
With Caroline, Willie, and D-Mace. Tim on 102.5 and 106.3 The Game and the Game Nashville app.
Imagine yourself in a new Toyota, like Corolla Cross, the first ever Corolla SUV, or the best-selling Toyota Camry, now available with all-wheel drive. And you can get 3.99 APR financing on a new 23 Camry, now through April 4th. With approved credit through TFS, excludes TRD and hybrids. And every new Toyota comes with 2 years no-cost maintenance. Get complete details at buyatoyota.com. Ready, set, go get your Toyota today. Toyota, let's go places.
Hey, what's up, everybody? Teron Davenport here from Superbook Sports. Make 2023 the year you beat Vegas. Superbook Sports gives you the chance every week to go head-to-head with the best odds makers in Las Vegas. No fancy computer algorithms, no guys across the pond setting lines for American sports. Just the best team of odds makers in the business behind the counter at the Superbook in Las Vegas. Plus, Superbook features some of the best odds boosts and promo bets anywhere. So download the Superbook Sports app or visit superbook.com and start your battle against Vegas right now. Visit superbook.com for terms and conditions. Gambling problem? Call 1-800-889-9789.
What if you could be credit card debt-free in 10 days and save as much as $1,000 a month? Loan Pronto's all-new Express Equity Line of Credit program is just what you need. Hey, Willie Donick here. You don't have to do a full home refi. You can tap a small portion of the equity you have and enjoy a super low monthly payment. With Loan Pronto's Express Equity Credit Line, you can close in 7 to 10 days. And a $50,000 loan would only cost you around $400 a month. It's that money to pay off high-interest credit cards or do a home improvement. You can access up to 90% of your home's equity, and 9 out of 10 homeowners won't even need an appraisal. Even if you did a total refi recently or just bought your home, you can tap the equity with this fast, easy program. Stop the madness and say no to 24% interest fees. Call Loan Pronto today. 615-499-5780. That's 615-499-5780 or go to loanpronto.com. Equal housing lender, NMLS 166-1781, subject to lender approval.
This is for the men who never settle, the ones who believe only quitters and a game and a tie, the type of guys who choose the bar with the biggest TVs to overcompensate for theirs at home, and the men who use PTO to catch afternoon basketball in March with the boys. This is the Lodge mentality. This is Twin Peaks.
Who wants to settle for a single TV? With more TVs, bigger screens, plus our fabulous scenic views, there's more to watch at Twin Peaks.
Curation CBD, a Picton company, offers high-quality, lab-tested CBD products curated for life for both you and your pet.
Hi, I'm Adam Intihar, also known as the Dog Father of Nashville. Curation 600 milligram CBD roll-on really helps me get through my training days. Applying it in the morning and again at night helps me take bites from dogs like Zulu or go on adventures with dogs like Lieutenant Dan. Curation is awesome.
Discover the full range of Curation products online at CurationCompany.com.
The sports talk doesn't end on Friday. Join Michelle Knezovic and Junie Riddle for Michelle and Junie.
As long as he wants to coach there, he will be able to coach there.
I think that really did save the hope of this team.
Michelle and Junie, presented by Superbook Sports, every Saturday morning at 9 on 102.5 and 106.3 The Game and the Game Nashville app. You're listening to Stillman and Company, presented by TriStar Moving on 102.5 and 106.3 The Game and the Game Nashville app.
Trevor Maddich is with us, ESPN college football analyst, presented by Houston Clinic Orthopedics, when experience matters. So the Titans are sitting there with the 11th overall pick. Every single mock draft out there said left tackle, left tackle, left tackle, left tackle. They signed Andre Dillard yesterday, perhaps to be the left tackle. So Trevor Maddich, you're the Titans. You're sitting there with the 11th overall pick. How does this change your strategy as far as you're concerned right now?
I still am looking for the guy to impact my team the most. Now, you can say that best player available. With the 11th pick, you need a guy that you expect to be a staple difference maker. And so if it's an offensive lineman and you think Paris Johnson is the guy that can be there for 10 years and just be really solid, if not a Pro Bowl guy, then certainly a Pro Bowl caliber guy, great, take him. That's totally worth it. But if you've got other smaller guys graded higher, then now that they've taken Andre Dillard in free agency, they have a chance to move to other positions. I hate it when teams draft for need. Because when you draft for need, when there are higher-rated players available, significantly higher-rated players available at different positions that you might not need right now, what you end up doing is populating your team with an overall lower level of talent than you could over the course of 3 or 4 or 5 drafts. And so you've got to be careful about that. But if I am the Titans, depending on how their board shakes out, to me, the most intriguing single thing that could happen is if Jalen Carter, the defensive tackle of Georgia, falls to 11 because of criminal charges that have been filed against him based on his alleged involvement in drag racing that ended up, contributing to the death of 2 people shortly after they celebrated their national championship. He's been charged with multiple misdemeanors as far as I've checked on that. And teams will have to decide, first of all, if he's a character risk or if that's a one-off. And number 2, they'll have to decide if he's even going to be available, if there's any incarceration issues there. But he is such a wrecking ball, such a massive difference maker, that he should be taken in the top 3 of the draft, really, 3 or 4. If he falls all the way to 11, even though the Titans don't have a need at defensive line, I would take him because of the overall upgrade of the overall talent level on this team, and let him just contribute to one of the most devastating D-lines in the league if they add him to it. That, to me, is the most intriguing thing that could happen at number 11.
Trevor, what do you think about the wide receivers? We know I don't think, they are very against soft tissue injuries. The Titans are. Jackson Smith and Jigba, I think, is off their board. But Jordan Addison, Quentin Johnston, and I feel like there's one other receiver that I'm forgetting here that could be a first-round pick for the Titans.
Yeah, Jalen Hyatt's there, Josh Downs out of North Carolina, Zay Flowers. A lot of
Zay Flowers, that's it.
Yeah.
So would you, if you were targeting one of those receivers, would you trade back in this draft? And do you think that those guys, because I'm convinced that the best receiver in this draft is going to be better than any free agent wide receiver the Titans could sign to go opposite Treylon Burks right now. What do you make of it?
Yeah, I am not thrilled at receivers at the top end here. And I'm not thrilled at the Titans taking a receiver at number 11. I mean, there are some guys whose names have been mocked to them. Quentin Johnston out of TCU is one of the ones that's gone, in conversation to them very often. He's 6'3", 208. He's the kind of guy that wins with size. He's outstanding at winning with size. And he's got good separation speed. In other words, he can just turn on that extra gear and stride it out to get open down the field. So all those things are good, but he also showed some inconsistency. He also doesn't catch as many touchdowns at TCU as I thought he might. I mean, Max Duggan, his quarterback, threw 32 touchdown passes last year. Johnston caught 6 of them. Just 6 at 6'3"? You would think there'd be more going on there. I'm not saying he's bad. I'm just saying that at 11, is he going to be that kind of a guy? And can you get another guy later in the draft, in the second round or even the third, that could fill in some of those gaps? And so, from a receiver standpoint, I think he's the guy that I would most likely go with to put 2 big receivers on the field, to go with Treylon Burks, who I expect, by the way, to have a breakout year this year. I expect Treylon Burks to completely erase the issues that he had last year and come out and act like a first rounder this next year. Now that's speculation on my part, but that's what I expect. But the thing is, Jalen Hyatt, who's a lot of people have the top receiver in this draft, ran a 4.40 at the combine, super speed, great at tracking the ball down the field. But there's issues with him, and he's a good example for the other guys at the top. When you just talk about issues with guys that you would want to take at number 11, Hyatt's got the speed, he's got the production, but he had a whole lot of free releases schemed for him at Tennessee. He wasn't really pressed that much. When he is pressed and when he is bumped, he gets knocked off his path, and he still has to prove that he can be an effective medium route runner. He can run slants, he can run deep, but those intermediate routes he'll have to excel at if he's going to be a producer worthy of the 11th pick. Can he do it? He wasn't asked to at Tennessee. So you have to ask yourself that. So these are some of the questions about the receiver group. I feel much better about the corner group.
Trevor Maddich is our guest. Trevor, what do you make of the trade that went down on Friday? Chicago moves to 9, and the reports are Carolina is debating between C.J. Stroud and Anthony Richardson. Anthony Richardson, number 1? Trevor, help me out here.
They are out of their ever-loving minds if they take Anthony Richardson number 1. That needs to be as close to a lock as you could possibly ever get. And Anthony Richardson is got the lowest floor of any quarterback, probably in the top two rounds, I would say. And to take him number 1, that would be, now he has also an incredible ceiling, but I just wouldn't do it. But it would be fantastic for the other teams in their division if Carolina took him. Because I just don't think that Richardson is going to be a guy that you're going to be able to count on. I hope he proves me wrong. I feel nothing against him. But if Richardson goes at number 1 to the Panthers, it's for Tennessee. Because now you've got Bryce Young and C.J. Stroud sitting there. The Texans at number 2 will take one of those. The Colts at number 4 will likely take the other. So now you've got 2 guys that, should they stay healthy, especially in the case of Bryce Young, because he's just not a real big guy. If they both stay healthy, they are both immensely talented. They both have proven in college that they are worthy of the risk in the NFL. I mean, I expect both of them to have good careers. Both in the division to go along with Trevor Lawrence in Jacksonville. And all of a sudden, from a pure talent standpoint, you've got to say that Tennessee, with Ryan Tannehill, probably is 4th in the division in terms of just pure talent and quarterback. Now, he's 1st in terms of experience, right? But by the time the Titans replace Tannehill, because Tannehill won't be here 5 years from now, but 5 years from now, you would assume that those other 3 quarterbacks will be with the other 3 division teams, and the Titans will be trying to develop somebody else to try to catch up. I mean, we talk all the time about in the AFC, you've got to get past Patrick Mahomes of Kansas City and Josh Allen of Buffalo and Joe Burrow of Cincinnati to get to the Super Bowl. Well, all of a sudden, you got 3 guys in your own division you got to get past, right? And so if the Panthers take the kid out of Florida, they take Anthony Richardson, then I think it's really bad because you'll probably end up with Young and Stroud both in the division.
Well, not only that, I think if that happens, then they're going to ruin Anthony Richardson. I mean, I think Anthony Richardson has a chance to be special. I really do. I don't think Anthony Richardson has a chance to play right away and be special, if you know what I mean, Trev.
Right. But if you take the number 1 pick in the draft, how many years can you sit him? How many weeks can you
No,
sit
I agree.
him?
I don't think Carolina can sit him. I mean, I think if they take him number 1, I think Carolina's playing him. And I think that's stupid.
Yep. And a lot of people are really comparing him to Justin Fields at Chicago. The thing is, at Ohio State, Justin Fields was a much better thrower than Anthony Richardson was at Florida. And it's taken Justin Fields, he's still way behind the game when it comes to developing from a thrower into a passer. And so at the number 1 pick in the draft, it'll be interesting to see what they might do with Richardson. If they do that, well, I hope for the sake of the Titans in their division that they don't. I hope they take Bryce Young or C.J. Stroud at number 1. I really do.
Trevor Maddich, as always, joining us on the program. He is the best. Trev, appreciate it. We'll talk soon.
Thanks, Jared.
Yep. He was talking about Tannehill, and he was talking about the future. And I do not think Anthony Richardson going number 1 overall. I think it's going to be C.J. Stroud, and I think the Texans are going to take Bryce Young. And I think the Colts are screwed. But ultimately, the Colts are probably going to end up with either Will Levis or Richardson, one of the 2. But the reason I say this, the reason I bring this up, is because I wonder if yesterday the succession plan for Ryan Tannehill actually started to become a reality. I'll explain how and what that means, and we'll do that next. Stillman and Company, 102.5, 106.3 The Game.
Live and local.
They played tough. They came back, and they still lost.
And your source for Nashville sports.
Yes, you want to have a fire sale, but who's going to buy those players?
We are Nashville's best sports talk. 102.5 and 106.3 The Game and the Game Nashville app.
ElectronicExpress.com. We make it happen.
Time for the Press Report.
Presented by Newton Nissan.
The Predators finished up the longest road trip of the season with a SoCal sweep this weekend, beating the LA Kings in a shootout, and then last night, the Ducks in overtime. Dueling odd man rushes. Novak to Tomasino, another 2-on-0. Novak scores! Let's go home! 5-4 Preds in overtime. Phil Tomasino to Tommy Novak in the most fun game of Chell 3-on-3s that you will ever see in real life. Tommy Novak scored the game-winning goal. The Predators got 9 out of a possible 12 standings points on the trip and return home tomorrow night after 2 weeks away. We will play the Red Wings tomorrow at 7 at Bridgestone Arena. Hope to see you there.
All the best car deals in Smashville start at Newton Nissan. Visit them at Newton Nissan of Gallatin or Newton Nissan South in Shelbyville.
This is Nashville's best sports talk.
ESPN
102.5 The Game.
In St. Pete, Clearwater, Florida, every day is a great escape. With 35 miles of white sand, there's no better place to get away. So let's explore the secluded beaches of Fort DeSoto or paddle our way around Honeymoon Island. Let's kick back, kayak, and catch crimson sunsets. Let's trade snow boots for bathing suits. Let's make today and tomorrow a beach day. Let's shine. Plan your escape at visitstpeteclearwater.com.
The Game text line is driven by Wilson County Hyundai. Online at wilsoncountyhyundai.com. Be a part of the conversation. Call or text the Game at 615-737-1025.
Our diamonds are direct from the source, direct from the cutters. There's no middlemen, there's no markup.
Meet Ben Wilkes, 10-year jewelry professional at Genesis Diamonds.
We've got everything from half a carat all the way up to 15 carats and everything in between. So I never have to go looking for something.
And if you're in search of that one-of-a-kind designer ring.
Lots of times they come in and she's got a very specific picture, something that she wants, and she's shocked and amazed when I go right to a case and pull exactly what she's been looking at out.
And beyond the best price and selection, every customer at Genesis gets one-on-one personal attention with no hidden agenda.
Every customer that I've ever worked with has my personal cell phone number. It doesn't come from an automated system. It is person-to-person interaction. We're not on commission, so what that means is regardless of what you buy or don't buy, I'm paid the same.
Genesis Diamonds.
Here you get more, you get bigger, better, you get prettier. The quality, the selection, transparency, customer service, it can't be touched. It's unmatched.
Green Hills and Cool Springs.
Now, your Game Center update.
Hi, I'm Chase McCabe. NFL free agency continued today, and the Titans reportedly have signed linebacker Azeez Al-Shaair from the 49ers. This is in addition to linebacker Luke Gifford and yesterday's addition of offensive lineman Andre Dillard. ESPN's Trevor Maddich joined Stillman and Company earlier today to discuss the Dillard signing and where he should play.
I would not put Dillard anywhere other than left tackle. He's kind of long and lean. He's got long arms. He came out of college at like 6'5", 313, something like that. Not a real big physical presence. And at right tackle, you're typically facing a defender who is a run stuffer first. You don't want your right tackle to get stuffed. Inside, you need a guy that can bend and get under those 320-pound warthogs and drive them out of there.
In hoops, Vanderbilt will open the NIT tonight as a 2 seed by hosting Yale at Memorial Gym. Coverage begins at 7:30 on 93.3 Classic Hits. And the Nashville Predators return to Bridgestone Arena to take on the Detroit Red Wings. We'll have coverage at 6 with the puck drop at 7 right here on 102.5 The Game. I'm Chase McCabe with your Game Center update on 102.5, 106.3 The Game.
For more, follow us on Twitter at 102.5 The Game or visit thegamenashville.com. Tonight, your Nashville Predators are back home to take on the Detroit Red Wings. Coverage begins at 6 on your home for Smashville. WPRT FM Pegram, WBUC HD2 Laverne, 102.5 and 106.3 The Game.
A Cromwell media station.
Where you have a voice.
He had a competent coaching staff.
You just play terrible and you keep playing. And we have strong opinions.
What a whiny freaking crybaby response.
This is Stillman and Company with Jared Stillman. Presented by TriStar Moving on Nashville's best sports talk, 102.5 and 106.3 The Game and the Game Nashville app.
Stillman & Company is delivered by TriStar Moving, 102.5, 106.3 The Game, streaming live on Twitter, Twitch, YouTube, and Facebook Live. Thanks to Superbook Sports, live from the Hiller Plumbing, Heating, Cooling, and Electrical Studios, Bridgestone Arena, where the Predators take on the Detroit Red Wings tonight. Max will have the pregame for you in an hour. Puck drop in 2. So there was a little minor sneaky transaction that went through yesterday that I don't hear a lot of people talking about because I don't think it's that big of a deal. And it was the San Francisco 49ers signing Sam Darnold to a 1-year, $4.5 million contract. $3.5 million of it's guaranteed. And then we are starting to notice the Titans' trend as to what they're doing with the players on their team. If you're hurt and you're not a really good player like Danico Autry, you're out. David Long Jr., hurt, gone. I mean, it wasn't like David Long Jr. signed for a bunch of money in Miami. In fact, David Long Jr. didn't sign for any money in Miami. Nate Davis, $10 million, gone. It's not like $10 million the Titans couldn't have afforded. $19 million guaranteed. It's not like the Titans couldn't have afforded that. And it's not like they don't have holes at guard. Still, Nate Davis, gone. Taylor Lewan, 2 ACLs, gone. Bud Dupree, never healthy, gone. Ben Jones, and Vrabel loves Ben Jones so much so that when they released him, Vrabel put out a statement about how much Ben Jones meant right there in the heart. And Ben Jones, gone. Well, who ended the year hurt with a sprained ankle last year and missed 5 games? Ryan Tannehill did. Now, I expect Ryan Tannehill to be back, but the Titans have stopped themselves every time from saying Ryan Tannehill will be our starting quarterback in 2023. That takes me back to Sam Darnold. I actually think Sam Darnold's kind of good. I know you all don't, but I think Sam Darnold is a good-ish quarterback. I don't think he's elite. But I don't think he's as bad as some of these other guys that are going to be starting next year in the league. And I thought Sam Darnold had a sneaky good year. 4-2 as a starter for Carolina, had his highest quarterback rating in the 90s this season, and had a QBR, which is ESPN stat, higher than Aaron Rodgers. Carolina, after they fired Matt Rule, after they cut out the Baker Mayfield thing, Carolina had a shot to make the playoffs, and it was because of what Sam Darnold did at quarterback for them. So I don't think Sam Darnold stinks. I also don't think Sam Darnold decided to go to San Francisco to be the third quarterback. And if he's only going to get paid $4.5 million, what would be the point of signing that on the first day of free agency? If he was going to be the third quarterback in San Francisco, what would be the point of signing that on the first day of free agency? That doesn't make a lot of sense. So my guess is San Francisco's moving a quarterback. They've got the 2 young guys, Brock Purdy, Trey Lance. They've got Sam Darnold. Again, $4.5 million. Now, maybe San Francisco just said, hey, we have got to find a second guy to come in here, and we'll put one of these young guys as our third guy because we ran through so many quarterbacks last year. But again, if you're Sam Darnold, and you're a good-ish quarterback, 5 or 20, that there's no chance you'll play. You don't go there and do that and take $4.5 million in a state that taxes half your income. You don't do that to go be number 3. You do what Ryan Tannehill did when Ryan Tannehill left Miami to come here. You go somewhere where the starter's a little vulnerable. You put your hand in the air, say, I'm the backup. And then when the starter falters or the starter gets hurt, you go in there, and if you save the day, you're back to being a starter. So the one thing I feel like I know from this deal is I feel like there's almost no chance, and no might be a little strong, but I think there's almost no chance Sam Darnold's going to be the third guy. Well, both Purdy and Lance are coming off of injuries. But I read last week that Brock Purdy will be ready to throw the ball in 6 months, and 6 months from now, we will be in September, so he'll be ready to play. And Trey Lance broke his ankle early in the season last year. It's not like Trey Lance lost a leg. It's a broken ankle. It heals. So what is the 49ers plan at quarterback? And that takes me to, what is the Titans plan at quarterback? The Titans sitting at 11 probably aren't going to do what Carolina just did to move all the way up to 1 to get their quarterback. Would the Titans do that to move from 11 to 3 if the quarterback that they loved was sitting there? I don't know. But would the Titans go out and get Trey Lance if they thought Trey Lance was going to be a future impact star player? Trey Lance has talent now. There's no doubt about it. Now, again, he was hurt last year, and he has not played so far in the NFL. But if I'm Ryan Tannehill and I see that Sam Darnold just took a 1-year, $4.5 million deal in San Francisco, I'd be looking over my shoulder. Because all of these teams that sign quarterbacks like that on the first day of free agency, that sign a backup to a backup deal, that is because the backup is taking the money right now. Sam Darnold's not signing that contract to be the third guy in San Francisco. If you went to him, if you're Kyle Shanahan and you said, hey, we want to sign you to a $3.5 million guaranteed deal, but we want you to come into camp and be our third guy, he's going somewhere else. He's going to go back up even a more established quarterback. What good would that do if he's sitting number 3? No team would ever get to see him play. What, they're going to sit there and say, hey, you looked good in the second half of that preseason game against the Minnesota Vikings, so now we think that next season we're going to make you our starting quarterback? Why would you do that? You're better off going to one of these other places and either backing up or starting in front of a rookie when you know you're going to lose your job. Makes no sense to be number 3, which means they probably told him he's going to be number 2. And if Sam Darnold is going to be number 2, that means somebody's losing a job. And that means somebody's not going to be there. And it's either going to be Lance or Purdy. And I could see either side of the argument here. With Trey Lance, if the 49ers have decided Brock Purdy, even with the injury, is their guy, then they might as well move on while they can. Because Trey Lance, even though they spent 3 first-round picks to move up to number 3 and draft him, that's not his value today. He's had 2 seasons in the NFL where he has not proved that he's a starting quarterback. He also only has 1 year left on his contract until the 49ers or whomever acquires him has to make a decision about picking up the 5th-year option. And for a quarterback taken 3rd overall, that's a lot of money. The other side of the coin could be San Francisco knows deep down inside Brock Purdy really is a nobody. And that Kyle Shanahan's coaching coached up Brock Purdy and that his value will never be higher. Andy Reid did the same thing one time with a quarterback by the name of A.J. Feely. Donovan McNabb got hurt. Ty Detmer got hurt. And A.J. Feely won a handful of games for the Eagles. And then they got rid of him. He went to Miami, and we never heard from A.J. Feely again. And again, the Titans have proven one thing to us this week. If you're injured, they don't want you. Taylor Lewan, big name in the franchise, popular player, but you're injured. Goodbye. Bud Dupree, impact pass rusher when he's on the field, but you're injured. Goodbye. David Long, everything you want in a middle linebacker, but you're hurt. Goodbye. Nate Davis, 4-year starter at right guard, but you're hurt. Goodbye. Ben Jones, the lifeblood of the offensive line, team captain, Mike Vrabel's son, but you're injured. Goodbye. And Ryan Tannehill was injured last year. And San Francisco's going to have to do something with one of these quarterbacks. Because Sam Darnold, in my opinion, is not going there to be number 3. He's going there to be number 2. Which means San Fran, in my opinion, has made up their mind on who number 1 is. And they're not going to keep number 3. 615-737-1025 is our phone number, 615-737-1025. Now, if I had my pick, and let me just say this, Rand Carthon is infinitely more knowledgeable about any of this stuff than any of us because he's seen all these guys practice. He knows what Kyle Shanahan thinks of them. He knows the psychological profiles of these guys. He knows what their temperament's like, their work habits, etc. But if I had my pick for the Titans, I will tell you the route that I would go, that I would hope San Francisco would allow me to trade for, and what I would trade. We'll get to that next. 615-737-1025 if you want to weigh in. FanDuel Sportsbook is my official sportsbook app. This March, take a shot at college hoops with a no-sweat bet on FanDuel Sportsbook. It doesn't matter if you're new to FanDuel, if you already have an account right now. All customers can tip off the tourney with a no-sweat bet. Just sign into your FanDuel Sportsbook account to claim yours today. Or, if you're new to FanDuel, go to FanDuel.com/JGM to get on all the action. Then you can bet on everything from the money line to point spreads to that 5 versus that 12 matchup you've been eyeing. I've told you guys for 3 days, Duke, that is a team that I think is totally underseeded. I woke up on Sunday morning. They were plus 2,900 on the FanDuel Sportsbook app to win the whole thing. I'm a big believer in Duke. FanDuel is a safe app that's safe, secure, and super easy to use. And there's no better place to bet the tournament than on FanDuel Sportsbook. Again, FanDuel.com/JGM. Make every moment more with FanDuel. 21 and older and present in Tennessee. Bonus issued is non-withdrawable bonus bets that expire 7 days after receipt. Max bonus bet $5 unless otherwise specified. Restrictions apply. See full terms at FanDuel.com/sportsbook. Gambling problem? Call the Tennessee Red Line 1-800-889-9789.
Want the latest on college football and Nashville sports?
They can be a fully formed model of what they're going to be offensively moving forward.
Join Outkick 360's Chad Withrow every Friday at 5 with Stillman and Company.
You don't know what's going to happen with the roster or the team.
He'll bring opinions and charisma for a full half hour every week.
This is a good lesson about sports and what we think and what actually happens.
Chad Withrow on 102.5 and 106.3 The Game and the Game Nashville app.
Hi guys, it's Mark. Are you struggling with erectile dysfunction? Did you know that a major medical breakthrough is available and it isn't a pill? Today, Tuesday, March 14th, we're running a one-day special you won't want to miss out on. Hillside Medical Clinic uses the most powerful form of wave therapy. This is a technology clinically shown to repair blood vessels and improve blood flow. It's backed by 60 clinical studies, including from Cambridge. If you're ready to regain the spark in your bedroom, today is your day. Call us now and you'll qualify for the assessment and ultrasound totally free. You'll also get a gift that can produce rapid and powerful results in the bedroom in minutes. You're going to love that one, guys. Trust me. And today only, we're offering 6 tune-up treatments to our patients free. This is an unprecedented offer worth hundreds of dollars, but call today and qualify totally free. Call 615-576-5000. That's 615-576-5000. Guys, put a stop to your erectile dysfunction and get your life back. Call Hillside Medical Clinic now to qualify. This offer ends today. 615-576-5000.
The team at Mercedes-Benz of Music City have done it again. Here's Edwin Vickery to explain.
4-time recipient of Best of the Best. Less than 10% of the dealers in the country receive this award. How did you do it? We say culture eats strategy for lunch, because we can strategize all we want, but unless you have the right culture and chemistry in the dealership, it will not work.
Live the dream at Mercedes-Benz of Music City, mbofmc.com.
In football, we all take our hits, but protection, that keeps you in the game. That's why I always wear a helmet and pads on the field. Life, too, comes with risks. So I got vaccinated and boosted for COVID-19. Hi, this is former Tennessee Titans tackle Brad Hopkins. Talk to your doctor. Get the information you need to make an informed choice. Gear up, Tennessee. Protect yourself and your family against COVID-19.
For more information, go to nflagearup.org/Tennessee.
Anyone want to tell me what happened? Did you miss any of today's show?
It's okay. It's fine. Don't worry.
Subscribe to the Stillman and Company podcast on Apple, Spotify, and other podcast platforms, or by going to thegamenashville.com.
All right, I'll give it a shot.
Strong opinions and a strong personality on your drive home. This is Stillman and Company, presented by TriStar Moving on 102.5 and 106.3 The Game and the Game Nashville app.
I do have to ask you to take us back to the third day of the 2022 NFL Draft, when you guys are selecting Brock Purdy with the final pick in that draft. What went into that selection, and what do you remember about it, Rand?
What I remember most
is how well, new quarterback coach Brian Griese and Steve Slowick worked together. Steve Slowick was an area guy. He covered Iowa State at the time and was kind of transitioning over to become a pro scout. But Slowick has been, he had been on Purdy for a couple years as one of his guys going through there, and the guy he was really high on. And to have his evaluation co-signed by, Coach Griese, who's coming in as a new coach, but having played in the system and understand what it takes to play in the system, just those two guys coming together and being on the same page, and, us picking, Brock. And I mean, man, it's very rare that you go through three quarterbacks during the season one, but then to go through three quarterbacks and you get progressively better with each one. Like, that's just rare.
There you go. That was Rand Carthon talking about, hey, each time the 49ers upgraded at quarterback, they got better, which makes me wonder, what's he think of Trey Lance? Because, again, Sam Darnold, 1 year, $4.5 million. This just came in from Adam Schefter. Andy Dalton, 2 years, $10 million, $8 million fully guaranteed with Carolina. He's going there to essentially be the bridge backup-ish quarterback. That's why Andy Dalton's going there. Andy Dalton knows that offense because Andy Dalton ran it in Chicago under Matt Nagy. That's the offense that Frank Reich runs. He's going there to be kind of the Chris Chandler to Steve McNair to whomever they end up drafting with that number 1 overall pick. Now, I think it's going to end up being C.J. Stroud, and I think it should be C.J. Stroud. But this takes me back to Sam Darnold. Why would Sam Darnold sign for $4.5 million after going 4-2 last season and having a quarterback rating as a starter in the 90s? I mean, he signed for $3.5 million guaranteed. Andy Dalton just signed for $8 million guaranteed. Why would they do that? Why would Sam Darnold do that on the first day of free agency if he's going to be number 3? I don't think he's going to be number 3. Which then leads me to say, okay, who do you want and what would you give up? Now, if I'm the Titans and I could pick between Purdy or Lance, I would pick Trey Lance. Now, if I had San Francisco's team with the receivers and the tight end and the left tackle and the running back, I'd want Purdy. But Lance, and in fact, if I was San Francisco, I think I'd rather have Darnold than Lance as well. But Trey Lance is athletic. Trey Lance has a lot of arm talent. I mean, I watched him play in the preseason last year against Green Bay, and I thought Trey Lance absolutely lit it up, and he threw a beautiful deep ball. I thought there was a chance that Trey Lance was going to be the breakout player this year, and then in the middle of the second game, he got hurt. And I know the Titans want to be more athletic long-term at the quarterback position. But then the question, if it's Trey Lance, let's say he's guy number 3 in San Francisco, because I don't think San Francisco's moving off of Brock Purdy. If it's Trey Lance, now there's a twofold question here. Number 1, what would you give up for Trey Lance? And number 2, who's better? Right now, today, to give you a better chance to win, Trey Lance or Ryan Tannehill? My gut tells me the 49ers felt like Trey Lance gave them a better chance to win than Jimmy Garoppolo. But I also don't think very much of Jimmy Garoppolo. Ryan Tannehill gives you a chance to win. As much as a lot of you crap on him, and as much as the national media talks bad about Tannehill, even though he probably doesn't put you over the top in a lot of games, he does give you a chance to win. Does Trey Lance give you a chance to win almost every week? I don't know. Then the second question is, because if Tannehill's better than Lance, why, even though you'd have Lance longer than you would Tannehill, why would you make that move and upgrade right away? And the reason why that question is important is because if Lance isn't better than Tannehill and you're bringing him in here, then you have to decide after this year with him as the backup to Tannehill if you're going to exercise the very expensive fifth-year option. The second question I have is, what would you give up for Trey Lance? Now, again, Rand Carthon knows Trey Lance better than I do, and he knows Trey Lance better than you do because he's been there. He's been in the practices. He's been in the meetings. He knows the quarterback coaches. He knows the offensive coordinators. He knows what they think. He knows where he needs to improve. He knows what offense they wanted to run this year with Trey Lance. Until he got injured, they brought Garoppolo in. He knows all of that. We don't know any of it. But what would you give up? I'm not giving up a first-round pick for Trey Lance. I'm not giving up a first-round pick for 1 year of a quarterback, and then I have to make a decision on his contract. Not doing it. So that's out. That's not even a possibility. If it's me, and I liked Trey Lance, it'd be my 2024 third-round pick. I'm not giving you a first, and I'm not giving you a second, because he's probably not even your guy. So I'm not giving you a first, I'm not giving you a second, and I'd rather not give you my third in this year's draft because I need my third in this year's draft. I'll give you a third in next year's draft. And I don't know if San Francisco says no to that just because of what they've invested in Lance. Or maybe they have a better offer out there for Trey Lance. The one thing I'm telling you is this may be the opportunity, though, for the Titans to get a young quarterback with talent. Because I hear you guys all the time complain about, well, they're never going to be bad enough to go up and get a good quarterback. And how do they go out there and get a young quarterback of the future? And how do they? This may be your opportunity. Now, here's the other part about it that nobody ever talks about, but I think is at least should be put on the table. What if Trey Lance sucks? I don't think he sucks, but he did suck in that first game this year against the Bears. What if Trey Lance sucks? Then what are you going to do? So I just, right now, knowing that the Titans don't like injured players and knowing that I don't think Sam Darnold went to San Francisco for $4.5 million to be the third-string quarterback, I do wonder what the future is for Trey Lance, and I wonder what the future is with the Titans. 615-737-1025 is the phone number if you want to get in, 615-737-1025. Texter says, the two guys that you are saying the 49ers would bring in to replace Tannehill were both hurt last year. I agree. But I think what we're seeing with the Titans, first of all, the reason why they move off of Tannehill is not because he hurt his ankle. It's because he's old. That's why they would move off of Tannehill. Secondly, they had injuries. Aziz Al-Shaair, their new middle linebacker they signed today. And again, do we even know how much money he signed for yet?
I still haven't seen it.
So we don't know how much money he signed for, but he's going to be their new middle linebacker. He tore his MCL last year. What the Titans are not interested in, groins, hamstrings, soft tissue injuries. And Lance and Purdy didn't have those. And Purdy is expected to make a full recovery. So that I'm not sure they're totally worried about. Texter says, Tannehill will win you what? Just regular season games or 4 consecutive playoff games? I don't think Tannehill will win you 4 consecutive playoff games. But how do I know Trey Lance will win that for you either? Chris texts in and says Tannehill's injury was from contact resulting from a horrible offensive line. Don't disagree with that sentiment. I'm just saying, Ben Jones, how did he get hurt? I don't know. He got 2 concussions, and the Titans moved off of him, even though they have holes on the offensive line, and Vrabel freaking loved him, which means if you got hurt last year, he don't want you. 615-737-1025 is the phone number. We'll get back into your phones, 615-737-1025, and we will reset what has been a wild day in free agency across the league. And we may have clarity on the biggest issue left, where we may know when we're going to get it. We'll get into that coming up next right here on the program. Hiller Plumbing, Heating, Cooling, and Electrical. They are proud supporters of the Nashville Predators. Had Hiller at my house earlier this week, and their experts are experts. Sometimes you'll get these people out there that they're trained, hey, we got to sell you on this, sell you on that. We got to get you on this, get you on that. Not Hiller. Their experts are trained, and they will tell you, hey, you don't need that. That's going to be too much to replace that. Just go ahead and do this. I love that about Hiller. Sometimes replacing equipment in your home can be overlooked until something breaks, but there's actually big problems that can come from outdated, old, vintage HVAC systems. Older systems have higher repair costs, require more maintenance, and result in higher utility bills, and even worse, they can break down when you need them the most. This month during Hiller's Vintage Showdown, they're giving away a free HVAC system to the owner of the oldest unit. It's easy to enter. Just go online to happyhiller.com and submit a picture of your old unit. Plus, everybody wins with trade-in credits and 0% interest financing for up to 48 months on replacements. That's Hiller Plumbing, Heating, Cooling, and Electrical, proud supporters of the Preds, the Vols, and Vandy. Hiller, call the Happy Face Truck today.
I think it's a really good move. TD, it's never the offseason for ESPN's Teron Davenport.
I mean, that's something you obviously have to look at.
He's always talking about what's next for the Tennessee Titans.
Quarterback is a really important thing that they have to get determined.
Check out TD, Mondays at 1, Thursdays at 3, and Friday mornings at 8:30. Plus, the Talkin' with TD podcast.
Looking forward to that.
TD is on 102.5 and 106.3 The Game.
Now's the time to get a great deal on select Kubota compact tractors, rated #1 in durability and owner experience. They're designed for easy operation and feature performance-matched attachments. Right now, put 0 down and get 0% APR for up to 72 months, plus save up to $800 on select equipment. Now through June 30th. See us or go to KubotaUSA.com for full disclaimer.
Visit Coleman Tractor Company, your local Kubota dealer in Clarksville, Nashville, Paris, and White House today.
Hey, Heather, when we ran into you and Mark the other day, you guys looked so happy.
Aw, thanks, Tiffany. We are.
Oh, I hate to say it, but Jim and I aren't doing very well lately.
Oh, what's going on?
Well, Jim's always tired. He never wants to do anything. When we try being intimate, he doesn't seem to be into it, at all. I wonder if he's even attracted to me anymore.
Oh my gosh, we had the same problem. I thought Mark was having an affair. Then we went to the Tennessee Men's Clinic and learned he just had a medical condition. The Tennessee Men's Clinic specializes in low testosterone and ED. And after some testing and treatments, our sex life is the best it's been in years.
Oh my goodness, that makes me feel better. Sounds like the Tennessee Men's Clinic is just what Jim needs. How does he get in contact?
It's easy. You can book appointments online or just give them a call.
Your first visit to the Tennessee Men's Clinic is only $99. They have multiple treatment options for low T and ED. Book your appointment today. Call 615-208-9090 or book online at TennesseeMen'sClinic.com. Visit our website to learn more, including side effects. Treatment's extra. Results vary.
What if you could be credit card debt-free in 10 days and save as much as $1,000 a month? Loan Pronto's all-new Express Equity Line of Credit program is just what you need. Hey, Willie Donick here. You don't have to do a full home refi. You can tap a small portion of the equity you have and enjoy a super low monthly payment. With Loan Pronto's Express Equity Credit Line, you can close in 7 to 10 days. And a $50,000 loan would only cost you around $400 a month. It's that money to pay off high-interest credit cards or do a home improvement. You can access up to 90% of your home's equity, and 9 out of 10 homeowners won't even need an appraisal. Even if you did a total refi recently or just bought your home, you can tap the equity with this fast, easy program. Stop the madness and say no to 24% interest fees. Call Loan Pronto today. 615-499-5780. That's 615-499-5780 or go to loanpronto.com. Equal housing lender, NMLS 166-1781, subject to lender approval.
Join 102.5 The Game live from the Rusty Nail in Hermitage on Friday, March 17th.
And the three is good.
Taking the first round of games during a St. Patrick's Day celebration. Enjoy $3 two-lane beer drafts all month long during the tournament.
Yes! What a shot!
Plus a great local atmosphere with a big back patio and volleyball courts. There's also great drinks and great food, especially the wings. That's Friday, March 17th at the Rusty Nail in Hermitage. Doors open at 10.
Hey, this is Jordan Rogers, and you're listening to Nashville's best sports talk, 102.5 The Game.
Oh, Aaron Rodgers still lingering. The decision is looming.
What, Trey Wingo?
It's on TV every 4 minutes on ESPN. Yeah. Aaron Rodgers, what's he going to do? Aaron Rodgers, what's he going to do? Well, Alan Lazard allegedly going to the New York Jets. Ooh. They're in contract negotiations. There's another team involved. Nothing's been settled. Randall Cobb potentially being in conversation with the Jets. Mm-hmm. People are wondering around the internet, what's going on here? Yeah. Now, I don't know if they're going to have enough money to be able to pay every single human that is being alleged to the Jets, but the Aaron Rodgers situation has no answer still at this point publicly. No. I don't know privately. AJ would know in about an hour. What we're saying is we have no idea either. Same spot as yesterday.
No clue.
Same spot as Friday.
What?
Will an answer come soon? We have no idea. We'd assume with how everything has to kind of go.
Yep.
But that is not necessarily going to come from this particular program today. We'd like to let everybody know that.
That was Pat McAfee earlier today on the Pat McAfee Show. Tomorrow on the Pat McAfee Show, and I'm not trying to promote that show, though I have no problem with the Pat McAfee Show. But tomorrow on the Pat McAfee Show, they will have Aaron Rodgers on the program. Now, Trey Wingo reported that the deal was done yesterday, Aaron to the Jets. And then all the insiders came, no. We're not hearing Aaron Rodgers to the Jets. We don't hear that that's right. Now, my guess is, and again, Trey Wingo does not break news on a consistent basis, but Trey Wingo has skins on the wall. This is not some bum that nobody's ever heard of reporting that Aaron Rodgers to the Jets is done. I mean, this isn't like, some guy, Max Hers, is reporting that Aaron Rodgers to the Jets. This is Trey Wingo. And my guess is Aaron Rodgers is the one who told that to Trey Wingo. And it's obvious that the Jets think they're getting Aaron Rodgers because they just signed Alan Lazard to a $44 million contract. They're going to sign Randall Cobb probably. They're looking at Mercedes Lewis. They're bringing in the Aaron crew. They've already brought in Hackett. Why are they bringing in the Aaron crew? For Aaron. That's why. But apparently he's going to be on that program tomorrow. My guess is we'll know what's going to happen as far as, what's concerned to the Jets and what they're going to trade and the money and who's going to pay it all and everything else. We'll probably have some clarity by 1 o'clock. But at this point, the only thing that I'm interested in is what are the actual parameters of the trade. I'm not interested anymore on if Aaron's going to the Jets because I know Aaron's going to the Jets. Now I'm wondering, what are the Jets giving up for a $58 million quarterback that the Packers don't want anymore? Normally when a guy has a $58 million contract and the team that's trading him doesn't want him anymore, they'll give you a pick in order to take the contract off your hands. In this case, I think the Packers are probably thinking, we're trading you Aaron Rodgers. We want a good pick in return. And the Jets are probably saying, we're about to pay $59 million. We're not giving you a good pick in return. What are you going to do if we don't give you a good pick in return? Nothing. So I think that's the process. So I do wonder, if you're the Jets, you probably need to just get this deal done so you just move on. But at the same time, I'm not giving you a good pick. I'm not giving you the 13th overall pick in the draft in exchange for Aaron Rodgers when you've told every single person out there that you can't wait till you get rid of them. But the Jets are not hiding it by going out and signing the Aaron crew. Speaking of signing crews, there is another kind of developing issue in the NFL. Boy, I can't wait till Jason Fitz comes on tomorrow at 4:30 because I don't know what his Raiders are doing. I don't know. Well, I take that back. I know exactly what his Raiders are doing. Josh McDaniels has decided to turn the Raiders into the New England Patriots, which would only be funny if he hadn't already tried to do that with the Denver Broncos a decade ago. But Josh McDaniels is doing it again. He had Derek Carr, a perfectly fine quarterback who a handful of teams in the league were lining up trying to sign that really wanted Derek Carr, and he kicked him out of the door. When he got there, this was, no, I'm not going to do what I did in Denver with Jay Cutler. I believe in Carr. That's why I took the job. Then after a year, kicked him out. Now he's kicked out Darren Waller, who I think is probably the 4th or 5th best tight end in the NFL, and he got a 3rd-round pick in exchange from the Giants for Darren freaking Waller. Now, let me just add this in here while we're talking about this. Darren Waller was probably the number one reason why the Titans beat the Raiders last year, because he did drop a pass, and he did drop a pass for a touchdown that popped in the air that ended up being a Titans interception. So I'm not saying that Darren Waller's perfect, but I'm just saying as far as this is concerned, I think Darren Waller's a pretty good player. Who are they bringing in? They're bringing in Jacoby Myers on an $11 million per year deal. the number one receiver of the New England Patriots, who's probably more of a 3 or a 2 in the NFL. They're bringing him in. So last year, I thought they had a pretty good thing going. Like, I like Matt Collins. I like Darren Waller. I obviously like Devontae Adams. I like Josh Jacobs. And I think Derek Carr's fine. He kicks out Derek Carr, brings in a worse quarterback in Jimmy Garoppolo. He kicks out Darren Waller, brings in a worse player in Jacoby Myers. And then today it was announced that the Raiders are signing Philip Dorsett, who was in New England with Brady and McDaniels years ago as well. This is not going to work, Josh. They should have never hired him. In fact, I think they should have fired him after this year when he proved that he can't coach in the NFL. He totally botched the Derek Carr thing, absolutely botched the Derek Carr thing. And now you're going to try to beat Justin Herbert and Patrick Mahomes in your division, and you're going to try to do it with Jacoby Myers, Philip Dorsett, and Jimmy Garoppolo? And Devontae Adams has already been kind of mad on social media. Josh Jacobs already is mad on social media. McDaniels doesn't have a freaking clue. And the longer you let somebody who doesn't have a clue run your organization, the longer it's going to be until you finally get out from under this. I actually said this the other day. I don't know if you all watched the Big 12 championship basketball game, but Texas, I think, handled Kansas. And everybody was telling me before the game that Kansas was the best team in the country. And Texas handled them. And Texas has an interim head coach by the name of Rodney Terry. Now, Rodney Terry had struggled in previous stops at UTEP and, I believe, Fresno State. And most people, after Chris Beard got fired and they made Rodney Terry the coach, most people don't think that Rodney Terry is ultimately going to be the coach at Texas, because at Texas, we've got to have a big-time coach. You sure you want to fire the interim guy? Because the Raiders fired John Gruden after he got kicked out of the league, and they had Rich Bisaccia, and that team made the playoffs. And that team played with some spunk. And that team got people to believe that the Raiders last year were on the ascent. And still they let him go, and they hired Josh McDaniels. And Josh McDaniels has turned the Raiders into the clown show that they were before this Rich Bisaccia thing. The clown show that he had in Denver a decade ago when he wanted Matt Castle. And he alienated Jay Cutler, and he ended up with Tim Tebow. That's what we're looking at right now. I mean, I don't get it. I just don't get it. I don't know what they're thinking there with the Raiders. By the way, good pickup for the the Giants. And I'm just going to tell you, I think that Dable is going to use Darren Waller way better than Josh McDaniels would have. And poor Devontae Adams. That team stinks, and they're in a division where you can't stink. And what have they done to fix the defense? Because the defense was the problem. But this is just what McDaniels does. Go get me the guys I know. Go get me the guys I'm comfortable with. That's what they have there. The Titans have made a couple of signings. They made a special team signing, Landon Gifford. Now, I talked to some people with the Cowboys that I know, and I said, hey, what do we know about this special teams linebacker, Landon Gifford? And my buddy with the Cowboys said, baller in all caps. Best special teams backer in the league. Really good depth player. Another guy said, just a dude you want on your team. I watched the Andre Dillard tape. I think he's going to be a solid, although not remarkable left tackle, and I think his run blocking leaves at least a little something to be desired. And then today they signed Azeez Al-Sher, a middle linebacker from San Francisco. They run a 4-3, so in the middle of their defense, they've got Dre Greenlaw, who's a really good player, Fred Warner, who's a really, really, really good player, and then Azeez Al-Sher, or Azeez Al-Shaair. They have Azeez Al-Shaair. The Titans have signed him. He's going to replace David Long Jr. as their middle linebacker. TD texted me about that earlier today and said that Al-Shaair is a baller. He's instinctive in coverage, matched up with tight ends at times. He's going to rack up tackles, one of those guys that flows to the ball really well. Not bad at getting around blockers either. Sometimes he takes them on and disengages well to make the tackle. And that he also, now this is something we probably have to be worried about a little bit. Shire tore his ACL and MCL in October of his final year in college in 2018. His MCL tear last year was to his right knee, and he apparently also tore his UCL. That's the pitching elbow ligament. He tore that and played with it for 3 months with a torn UCL at Florida Atlantic. But it does sound like somebody that they trust as an impact linebacker that they're going to sign and just say, okay, you've got the David Long Jr. spot. And now they're done at inside linebacker. So now that they've erased left tackle and they've erased inside linebacker from positions of need, they're slowly but surely chipping away. I think they still have a need at left guard. They still have a need at center. And they still have a need at right guard. Now, tomorrow, they will have to make the decision on tendering Aaron Brewer a contract at $2.6 million as a restricted free agent for that right of first refusal. So we will see if they do that. I think they will, just from a number standpoint. They also have a need at defensive end and outside linebacker to replace Bud Dupree. They've also got a need at defensive tackle, and we will see. We will see if they tender Tier Tart with a second-round contract grade. If they go with the right of first refusal, maybe there's a chance that Tier Tart gets offered. If they go with a second-round tender, which is $4 million, there's no chance Tier Tart gets another contract offer from another team. Now they filled the hole at inside linebacker. DeMarcus Walker, defensive end, he already left, signed a deal with the Bears. Good for him. I still think they could use some help at corner. And so with that, they still have a handful of needs. But I think, remember, Austin Hooper signed on Friday of free agent week last year. Now, Austin Hooper's a guy I'd like to have back. And I actually looked it up today. Austin Hooper had 10.8 yards per catch, which is what he was doing in Atlanta, which is what got him paid when he went to the Browns, and then he went to like 8 yards a catch or whatever. 10.8 yards per catch last year. He's a good player, and it took, Todd Downing forever to realize it, but he's a good player, and I would like to see the Titans bring him back. They need a second tight end. There's another restricted free agent that they have to keep their eye on, which is Nick Westbrook-Akine. Now, I don't think they're going to tender Westbrook-Akine for $2.6 million, and I don't think he's a $2.6 million player. But tomorrow by 3 o'clock, when the new league year starts, they will have to decide who they're going to tender contracts to. I do not think that they are going to want to lose Nick Westbrook-Akine because he is a guy who consistently shows up. All these other guys, this guy plays 13 games, this guy plays this many, this guy. Westbrook-Akine is not very fast. He's not very big. He doesn't have a lot of talent, but he's a solid special teams player. He knows your system. He knows your quarterback. And he's not that expensive. We'll see what they do there because I don't want to have to replace that if I'm the Titans. But do they try to sign him for a deal that's less than $2.6 million? So they've got that going for them as well. With that, we go to your phones. 615-737-1025. Texter into the text line says, why go for Lance or Purdy? The Titans have tried to get young quarterbacks, Vince Young and Mariota, and both were horrible decisions. Don't forget Jake Locker. Hey, guess what? And this goes for every take out there. Just because signing an individual free agent didn't work out doesn't mean that you shouldn't sign any more free agents. Just because drafting a quarterback 15 years ago didn't work out doesn't mean that you shouldn't ever draft another quarterback. Think about this. When the Bengals had the number 1 pick and Joe Burrow was sitting there, do you think Cincinnati said to themselves, you know what? We drafted Achilles Smith high and it didn't work out, so why would we take Joe Burrow? Do you think they said that to themselves when Carson Palmer was sitting there? Well, remember Achilles Smith? Of course not. That's like saying, oh, well, the Jets can't draft a young quarterback anytime soon because they took Sam Darnold and they took Zach Wilson. That's like saying, oh, you know what? Better watch out if you're the Houston Texans trying to take a young quarterback because they took David Carr in 2002, number 1 overall, and that didn't work out. You see how ridiculous that sounds? If Rand Carthon, and he would have the inside info because, again, That's what Ran Carthon, he did that in San Francisco with those guys. If he thinks Trey Lance can play, by all means, go out and try to get Trey Lance. I don't know what it means, though, for Tannehill. Now, I am worried about the Azeez Al-Shaair injuries. David said, there goes your injury take that the Titans are moving off of injured players. Again, soft tissue injuries, recurring injuries. I do not like, though, the fact that Al-Shaair has the injuries. They're torn knee ligaments and things. I do not like that. That concerns me. By the way, I have my wish list out. Some guys to keep an eye on. If they don't get deals out there in free agency that I think the Titans could get low-level money, still keeping my eye on Austin Hooper. I want Austin Hooper back. I also want Mario Edwards Jr. back if they can get him at the veteran minimum. Keep an eye on Arden Key. Now, he's 26 years old. He's played 17 games in each of the last 2 seasons, had 11 sacks the last 2 years, and Arden Key played in San Francisco. So maybe Ran Carthon likes him, as it did Samson Ebukam, the outside pass rusher that I thought the Titans should have signed in our free agency preview, and I still think they need a guard in free agency. And as I've said, give me a fat one. Give me a big old fat guard. I don't want any more 280 pounds moves. I want 335 pounds, just eats these big old fat defensive linemen. That's what I want. A big old fat guard, kind of like Roger Saffold. Big old fat guard. Gets out there and can push people around. That's what I'd just one of those. And then a lot of my anxiety probably goes away a little bit. Predators are back at home against Detroit Predators. Game days next. Stillman and Company, 102.5, 106.3 The Game.
Every Wednesday at noon.
That fits the mentality of what they're going to do.
Outkick 360's Jonathan Hutton joins Caroline, Willie, and D-Mace to talk all things Titans and NFL.
Much more creative in how you go about calling certain plays.
He's got opinions and insights on the two-tone blue.
That doesn't mean that you can't have great or don't need great quarterback play.
Catch Hutton every Wednesday at noon on 102.5 and 106.3 The Game and the Game Nashville app.
Imagine yourself in a new Toyota, like the adventurous new RAV4. The best-selling SUV in America is the right-size vehicle for you. Now through April 4th, you can get low 3.99 APR financing on a new 23 RAV4. With approved credit through TFS, excludes hybrids, and every new Toyota comes with 2 years no-cost maintenance included. Get complete details at buyatoyota.com. Ready, set, go get your Toyota today. Toyota, let's go places.
Have you seen the selection of luxury pre-owned Rolex watches they now have at Genesis Diamonds? If not, prepare to be amazed.
If people really know the watch world, they come in and they're in shock. They're like, I cannot believe you have this selection here. They're able to see them, touch them, feel them.
Meet Genesis watch expert Charlie Rivers, who says over the past few years, Genesis buyers have scoured the world to build a collection of luxury pre-owned Rolexes, including all the hard-to-find models.
Daytonas, Pandas, Sky Dwellers, a huge selection of Submariners, Hulks, Kermits, anything that you could ever possibly want. We have every luxury pre-owned Rolex that we have here. We ensure that it's in pristine condition.
So come in today and find the timepiece of your dreams at Genesis. Or if you already own a Rolex and are looking to trade for a different model or even sell it, Genesis can help you get top dollar.
If you have a Rolex, definitely bring it in. I would love to see it and do a complimentary evaluation on it and see what we can do for you.
Genesis Diamonds, now with one of the largest selections of luxury pre-owned Rolexes in America. Green Hills and Cool Springs.
It's that time of year. The insanity, the madness, the tournament, the ingrates showing up at your house to watch the games and eat all your food. You want to be a good host, but you don't want to be rooting around in your refrigerator. Central Barbecue has the solution. Bulk order some Central Barbecue deliciousness and pick it up before those animals show up. Go to eatcbq.com and order what you need to feed the crowd and let Central Barbecue do the heavy lifting. This year, show your friends you care about them. Feed them Central Barbecue. 2 locations in Hillsborough and Capitol View. Smoke is our sauce.
You look at yourself in the mirror every day and you can't deny it anymore. Your hair is not as thick as it used to be, and it's making you feel self-conscious. Hair Club is here to save the day. For 45 years, Hair Club has helped more than 500,000 clients love their hair and feel confident again. No matter what stage of hair loss, they can help. Hair Club can customize a solution just for you. For a limited time, get 10% off when you book a free consultation today at hairclub.com/chase.
Looking for a career with purpose or have that passion for youth development? Boys and Girls Clubs of Middle Tennessee provides a safe place where youth gain the tools to learn, lead, and reach their full potential. And that starts with you, offering competitive pay and free after-school care for employees. Learn more at bgcmt.org.
Hoop fans looking for some fun action this Thursday and Friday's tournament games? Head over to Brewhouse South in Cool Springs. Superbook Sports will be there with awesome merch to give out and fun betting options. Brewhouse South and Superbook for round 1 hoops action.
They're insightful.
To me, you got a left guard situation you got to figure out.
Credible.
I trust this guy more than this guy.
But sometimes they just argue.
Why do you like the NFL playoffs? Those teams lose
I don't want college football to be the NFL.
When they get...
Robbie Stanley and Joe Rexroad are Robbie and Rexroad. Weekdays from 6 to 9 on 102.5 and 106.3 The Game and the Game Nashville app. You're listening to Stillman and Company, presented by TriStar Moving on 102.5 and 106.3 The Game and the Game Nashville app. It's Hockey Night in Smashville.
Deflects back for Duchesne. His shot stopped and the score!
What are the keys to victory tonight? What's being said in the locker room? Where do the Preds reside in the Central Division standings? Jared Stillman has the latest now. With Preds Game Day on Stillman and Company. This is Smashville's best sports talk. ESPN 102.5 The Game and the Game Nashville app.
Predators Game Day is presented by TJ Anderson Homes of Benchmark Realty. TJ Anderson is my realtor. That TJ take care of 2 home purchases for me, and he does even more for my friends. I never hesitate in telling my friends about TJ and how much I enjoy using TJ and how he gets me the best deals, and he'll do the same for you. That's TJ Anderson Homes of Benchmark Realty, online at tjandersonhomes.com, where they have all of the latest what's coming available and all these great tools you can use at tjandersonhomes.com. That's TJ Anderson Homes of Benchmark Realty. The Detroit Red Wings are 30-27-9, good for 69 points. The Predators 33-24-7, good for 73 points. But now the schedule gets a little bit tougher, and it means that the Predators are going to have to watch out as far as any hopes of making the wild card are concerned. We start with John Hines on the Predators' play of late.
Well, I think, first of all, it starts with, I think, the veteran players that have been in the lineup and playing every night. You know, I think that their attitude and I think commitment level to how they're playing, but also, you know, setting the I think the temperature in the room is really important, particularly with a lot of newer guys and young guys coming in. And I think that the younger players that have come in have really played to their strong suits. You know, I think we're a faster team. I think we have, we're very competitive every night. You know, you're not asking or begging for effort and competitiveness. It's naturally there. I think from a structure standpoint, guys are committed when they don't have the puck. And then I think from an offensive standpoint, you know, guys are playing with some confidence and swagger. I think our speed and pace of play certainly helps that. And I think, you know, different skill sets in the lineup now have really clicked.
Now, here's my take on it. The Predators are 6 points out of the wild card with 3 games in hand on Winnipeg. They play Detroit, who kind of stinks tonight, but doesn't stink. They play Chicago, who absolutely freaking stinks on Thursday. And then they play Winnipeg, who's ahead of them in the standings, all at home on Saturday. If the Predators can go 3-0-0, this is my final thought presented by TJ Anderson Homes of Benchmark Realty. If they can go 3-0-0 this week, now we're talking. We'll see. Max has the pregame show. That's next. Stillman and Company. We'll see you tomorrow, too.
ElectronicExpress.com. We make it happen.
Hi guys, it's Mark. Are you struggling with erectile dysfunction? Did you know that a